Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the Sanctuary, Starlings. How are my Starlings doing? Let me scroll up and chat to see what I missed. Because I know I missed a lot. Darling got first, of course. Chaos got second. And Trouble got third. I just hit it and it said it was gone. I love it. My 1 year, 6 month mod anniversary. Oh my god. Trouble. I love that. Thank you, Trouble. Sorry about the ads and everything. I just got back into town. Dyer is here. I love the fine I'll leave and then the lurk. I like seeing the subreddits in just poking fun at one in particular. Oh yeah, and thank you for shouting out Trouble. We're last playing Buckshot Roulette. It's Dire Lobo streams a delightful mix of casual gameplay and friendly banter. They're all about making friends and having a good time. Whether it's battling through Halo, campaign involves skull hunting, or getting the groove on with Stellar Blade, Buckshot Roulette with friends, count me in. Talking about your marriage with Eli. What? Oh my god. What the fucking I love that. The Trouble's like Kirby, the mock Kirby. Talking about your marriage with Eli? No. Did Eli get to you too? People being stupid about 2D pixels in Otome games. Oh yeah. If you like more than one, you're a hoe. Call me a hoe, bitch. Yeah. You're unfaithful. That's the whole point of one going through all the storylines with the potential love interest. Yeah. I mean, because even some of the love interests you can't even get unless you go through like all of them, right? Then seeing who you like, we have lost the plot, I fear. That just shows they will pick one and hate on the rest, even if they don't know that story. Yeah. Yeah, there's like what do they call them? The one fans. I played Ninja Assassin, and by God, I had to do all the character stories just to see what made them tick, and I loved one more than the rest. But I loved all 9 of them. Yeah, I also played that Ninja Assassin. Sam, I had my favorite, but I liked all 9 of them. Willem was an ass, and I liked him the least, but still loved him. Yeah, Ninja Shadow was also good as well. Agreed. Destiny Ninja 2. Felt for Sagi Himuro, the Shrine Priest. I love Destiny Ninja. I wonder if you can still get those 2 games at least. I know Ninja Assassin was removed. Oh, Destiny Ninja was removed in 2023. Oof. I think a majority of those got removed. Ninja And then it says, well, Ninja Shadow is out, but they removed it from iTunes. So Apple users can't get it. Oh. So us Android users still can? I'm guessing you're talking about an Otome game, by the way. I think all the Shall We Date ones got removed. Really? Oh, that sucks. I think the one that I remember playing the Shall We Date was Niflheim. That one. I think that's the one I played. Like, it's a lot. That sucks. Yeah. Or I remember I wanted to play like I think there was one like Shall We Date Devils or something like that. I remember that was like a theme and I wanted to play it and I never did. But that sucks. uh it's kind of hot tonight, so I'm going to put my hair up. We're going to go with the claw clip again. Although a different one cuz I have a black one. I figured I'll dress up all black for Dracula, you know? And I have this one or the other dress that I met the last dress I wore when we went to your granny's birthday and we saw Eli and Mark, I believe. I have that dress still. Although I do have to I might be going to a funeral not this week, but next. Well, yeah, I guess this coming week. There's supposed to be a funeral for one of our relatives, which I'm kind of sad about because she was really nice. Um but of course she like mostly spoke Spanish. So I didn't know her that well, but she was very nice to all of us. So, did you see what I said about what Mina said today? Oh, I think I did, which is that she's stealing your children for yet another night. She was like, "Yeah, we're keeping them for another day." Also, Chaos, I can now relate to you because today I was fucking taking a nap, and my dad did try to wake me. I couldn't. My brain was like, "We're not moving." And while I was napping, they kidnapped my son and then took him to get his last shot that he needed. I was supposed to go with, like it was a part of the plan, but I was so sleepy and I tried to make myself get up and my brain was like, nah, nah, girl, you're staying asleep. And and so yeah, they took my son and he had to get his shots. We had to just get one. Dad said he was very well behaved though, that he and I'm like, oh, he was so brave. And so I gave him some plain chicken that we got. Like it was like we had a rotisserie chicken, but I gave him some of the plain parts from like inside the chicken. I gave him some pieces to reward him for being a good boy, and he's been sleeping hardcore on my bed. Right now though, he's underneath. He's in his own little bed right now underneath me, because he's still tired. Like the vaccines make him so tired. Yeah, like 4:30 p.m. Mina sent us pictures and took the kids to the boardwalk in town. And they won giant teddy bears for them both. That's pretty fucking cool. Honestly, those kids must feel amazing. I always wanted to win one of the. I always wanted to get one of those giant teddy bears. Dude, I still want one of those giant teddy bears. Have you seen them? Like they sell them at Walmart now that are like the size of my bed, and I want one. I want one. You can already see all the stuffed animals I have on my bed. Y'all have seen how many stuffed animals I have. I have so many, and I don't remember if I showed on stream, but I remember showing some people that I got Kane from the Amazing Digital Circus. So I have one more than I used to. Wait, Shadow. Shadow just smeared his nose on my toes. Oh, that tickled. Right now the twins don't know what's going on. True, they don't. But I feel like when they get older and they find out like not everyone has giant teddy bears, they're gonna be like, well, we're spoiled. They've been blessed. I can't believe I was holding this book upside down the entire time and no one told me. That's fine. But we are gonna continue Dracula today. And I'm excited. I don't know about y'all, but I'm excited. I'm excited for the shenanigans that are happening in this story. there's so much shit going on every time we start reading this. But yeah, our children both got stolen chaos. I was like, I like woke up from my nap properly like a few minutes after they left, and I was just like, fuck, they took my child. I was like, my son. I was like, what do I do with my life now? He's not here. And my poor baby. And then when he got back, I felt so bad. I mean, he looked fine. Dad said he didn't really complain much. And I was just like, but baby, he had to put on a brave face without me. But yeah, are your are your twins old enough to already have vaccines or no? I don't know about babies, so I don't know when they get their all their shots. I know with pets, they all have to get they all get their shots like by 4 months. Like yeah, like 4 months is like when they're like they should have all their shots. I unfortunately kind of forgot about Shadow's last shot, so it's like he's in his 5th month. But yeah, they get more next this month. Oh, yeah, that's fair. That makes sense. Well, yeah. I mean, they're small. Yours are yours are only like I just realized Shadow was born in February and your children were born in January, no? No, fuck, wait, I'm thinking of Ruby. Our other sister who has a child. I think I think that it's your kids were born in April, so your kids are younger than Shadow. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, but no, yeah, because we got Freya before you guys got the twins, and then we got Shadow quickly before that too. I do have I'm pretty sure I do have their birthday on my phone, but yeah, so April 6th, 26. But yeah, I don't want to. I'm realizing we're like almost 30 minutes in, and I still haven't started reading, so we're gonna start reading. I'm so sad. I wanted to light my candle here, but I can't. I don't know what happened to my matches. Wait a second. Are there matches right here? I'm probably gonna burn my fingers, but let's do this. I like to set the mood, but bro, I just had the magnet. What the heck? I I literally just pulled out the magnet for this. By that I mean my your girl's blind. I'm sorry. But I have this lavender candle I've been meaning to light up for a hot minute. Especially with fucking I may burn my fingers doing this because these are shorter than my usual one. There we go. Fire, don't you dare fucking burn me. Alright. There we go. Usually I let my usually let my matches burn out on their own because they never burn me, but because these ones are short, I'm like, this one was gonna burn me before I set this on my desk. Okay. Alright. We're good. Smoking the salsa. Carl, I don't even get drunk. What makes you think I do that? Ain't no way. Your girl doesn't drink. I don't smoke. I was lighting a candle. Relax. I just like fire, okay? Hence why I have my matches. But yeah, I got dressed up. We are starting with chapter 12 of Dracula. And look at how pretty this book is. I mean, I've shown y'all before, but I like to show you guys the beginning of the chapters because they always have the embellishments. There's a bunch of roses. Dr. Seward's diary. You know what they say about assuming? True. But Carl, you know I'm not that cool. I'm boring, my guy. I don't do shit. I don't go out. I stay at home. I'm a homebody. Y'all already know this. Your girls, I was unfortunately raised as kind of a good girl. I just like to be naughty sometimes, you know. I'm not I'm not that crazy, guys. I'm not that wild. All right. Chapter 12, Dr. Seward's diary. 18 of September. I drove at once to Hillingham and arrived early, keeping my cab at the gate. I went up to the avenue alone. I knocked gently and rang as quietly as possible, for I feared to disturb Lucy or her mother, and hoped to only bring a servant to the door. After a while, finding no response, I knocked and rang again. Still no answer. I cursed the laziness of the servants that they should lie abed at such an hour, for it was now 10 o'clock, and so rang and knocked again, but more impatiently, but still without response. Hitherto I had blamed only the servants, but now a terrible fear began to assail me. I'm so sorry. I don't know where that came from. I was making it. I was making it. It was that. Oh, and I thought of you and Ming. My brain was like, "How is that a reference?" I get it now, Carl. I'm so sorry. Also, thank you for the bless. I'm fucking crying. That took me a second. Fucking Ming. See what you've done? Now you've embarrassed both of us. Oh shit, man. Oh, that killed me. Oh god. I like get into the reading and it's immediately a sneeze comes on. One that wasn't there like a second before, I swear to god. Ugh. Allergies are now deciding to kick my ass. Hitherto I had blamed only the servants, but now a terrible fear began to assail me. Was this desolation but another link in the chain of doom which seemed drawing tight around us? Was it indeed a house of death to which I had come too late? I knew that minutes, even seconds of delay, might mean hours of danger to Lucy. If she had had again one of those frightful relapses, and I went around the house to try if I and I went around the house to try if I could find by a chance any entry anywhere. I could find no means of ingress. Every window and door was fastened and locked. I returned baffled to the porch. As I did so, I heard the rapid pit-pat of a swiftly driven horse's feet. They stopped at the gate, and a few seconds later I met Van Helsing running up the avenue. I'm sorry. My eyes are watering. They suddenly got itchy. I'm crying. I know what's happened. uh, y'all know I don't know what's happened. I'm going in this blind. I've never even seen the Dracula movies. Um, I do want to though, especially after reading this. I'm like, oh my god, we should start watching them. Like, I want to watch the old black and white one. Ugh. Okay, there we go. Christ, I swear, I don't know what's happening. They stopped at the gate, and a few seconds later I met Van Helsing running up the avenue. When he saw me, he gasped out, "Then it was you, and just arrived. How is she? Are we too late? Did you not get my telegram?" I answered as quickly and coherently as I could that I had only got his telegram early in the morning, and had not lost a minute in coming here, and that I could not make anyone in the house hear me. He paused and raised his hat as he said solemnly, "Then I fear we are too late. God's will be done." With his usual recuperative energy, he went on, "Come, if there be no way if there be no way open to get in, we must make one. Time is all time is all in all to us now." We went around to the back of the house, where there was a kitchen window. The professor took a small surgical saw from his case and, handing it to me, pointed to the iron bars which guarded the window. I attacked them at once and had very soon cut through 3 of them. Then, with a long thin knife, we pushed back the fastening of the sashes and opened the window. I helped the professor in and followed him. There was no one in the kitchen or in the servants' rooms, which were close at hand. We tried all the rooms as we went along, and in the dining room, dimly lit by rays of light through the shutters, found 4 servant women lying on the floor. There was no need to think them dead, for their stertorous breathing and the acrid smell of laudanum in the room left no doubt as to their condition. Van Helsing and I looked at each other, and as we moved away, he said, "We can attend to them later." Then we ascended to Lucy's room. For an instant or two we paused at the door to listen, but there was no sound that we could hear. With white faces and trembling hands, we opened the door gently and entered the room. How shall I describe what we saw? On the bed lay 2 women, Lucy and her mother. The latter lay farthest in, and she was covered with a white sheet, the edge of which had been blown back by the draught through the broken window, showing the drawn, white face with a look of terror fixed upon it. By her side lay Lucy, with face white and still more drawn. The flowers which had been around her neck we found upon her mother's bosom, and her throat was bare, showing the 2 little wounds which we had noticed before, but looked horribly white and mangled. Without a word, the professor bent over the bed, his head almost touching poor Lucy's breast. Then he gave a quick turn of his head as of one who listens, and leaping to his feet, he cried out to me, "It is not yet too late. Quick, quick, bring the brandy." I flew downstairs and returned with it, taking care to smell and taste it, lest it too were drugged with the decanter of sherry which I found on the table. The maids were still breathing, but more restlessly, and I fancied that the narcotic was wearing off. I did not stay to make sure, but returned to Van Helsing. He rubbed the brandy as on another occasion, on her lips and gums, and on her wrists and the palm of her hands. He said to me, "I can do this, all that can be at the present. You go wake those maids, flick them in the face with a wet towel, and flick them hard. Make them get heat and fire and a warm bath. This poor soul is nearly as cold as that beside her. She will need to be heated before we can do anything more." I went at once and found little difficulty in waking 3 of the women. The 4th was only a young girl, and the drug had evidently affected her more strongly, so I lifted her on the sofa and let her sleep. The others were dazed at first, but as remembrance came back to them, they cried and sobbed in a hysterical manner. I was stern with them, however, and would not let them talk. I told them that one life was bad enough to lose, and that if they delayed, they would sacrifice Miss Lucy. So, sobbing and crying, they went about their way, half clad as they were, and prepared fire and water. Fortunately, the kitchen and boiler fires were still alive, and there was no lack of hot water. We got a bath and carried Lucy out as she was, and placed her in it. Whilst we were busy chafing her limbs, there was a knock at the hall door. One of the maids ran off, hurried on some more clothes, and opened it. Then she returned and whispered to us that there was a gentleman who had come with a message from Mr. Holmwood. I bade her simply tell him that he must wait, for we could see no one now. She went away with the message, and engrossed with our work, I clean forgot all about him. I never saw in all my experience Professor work in such deadly earnest. I knew, as he knew, that it was a stand-up fight with death, and in pause told him so. He answered me in a way that I did not understand, but with the sternest look that his face could wear. If that were all, I would stop here where we are now and let her fade away into peace, for I see no light in life over her horizon. He went on with his work with, if possible, renewed and more frenzied vigor. Presently, we both began to be conscious that the heat was beginning to be of some effect. Lucy's heart beat a trifle more audibly to the stethoscope, and her lungs had a perceptible movement. Van Helsing's face almost beamed, and as we lifted her from the bath and rolled her in a hot sheet to dry her, he said to me, "The first gain is ours. Check to the king." We took Lucy into another room, which had by now been prepared, and laid her in bed and forced a few drops of brandy down her throat. I noticed that Van Helsing tied a soft silk handkerchief around her throat. She was still unconscious, and was quite as bad as, if not worse than, we had ever seen her. Van Helsing called in one of the women and told her to stay with her and not to take her eyes off her till we returned, and then beckoned me out of the room. "We must consult as to what is to be done," he said as we descended the stairs. In the hall he opened the dining room door, and we passed in, he closing the door carefully behind him. The shutters had been opened, but the blinds were already down, with the obedience to the etiquette of death which the British woman of the lower class always rigidly observes. The room was, therefore, dimly dark. It was, however, light enough for our purpose. Van Helsing's sternness was somewhat relieved by a look of perplexity. He was evidently torturing his mind about something, so I waited for an instant, and he spoke. "What are we to do now? Where we are to turn for help? Where are we to turn for help? We must have another transfusion of blood, and that soon, or that poor girl's life won't be worth an hour's purchase. You are exhausted already. I am exhausted too. I fear to trust those women, even if they have the courage to submit. What are we to do for someone who will open his veins for her?" "What's the matter with me, anyhow?" The voice came from across the room, and its tones brought relief and joy to my heart, for they were those of Quincy Morris. Van Helsing stared angrily at the first sound, but his face softened, and a glad look came into his eyes as I cried out, "Quincy Morris!" and he rushed toward him with outstretched hand. "What brought you here?" I cried as our hands met. "I guess Art is the cause." He handed me a telegram. "Have not heard from Seward for 3 days, and I am terribly anxious. Cannot leave. Father still in same condition. Send me word how Lucy is. Do not delay. Homewood." I think I came just in the nick of time. You have only to tell me what to do. Van Helsing strode forward and took his hand, looking him straight in the eyes as he said, "A brave man's blood is the best thing on this earth when a woman is in trouble. You are a man and no mistake. While the devil may work against us for all he's worth, but God sends us men when we want them." Once again we went through that ghastly operation. I have not the heart to go through with the details. Lucy had got a terrible shock, and it told on her more than before, for though plenty of blood went into her veins, her body did not respond to the treatment as well as on the other occasions. Her struggle back into life was something frightful to see and hear. However, the action of both heart and lungs improved, and Van Helsing made a subcutaneous injection of morphia, as before, and with good effect. Her faint became a profound slumber. The professor watched whilst I went downstairs with Quincy Morris and sent one of the maids to pay off one of the cabmen who were waiting. I left Quincy lying down after having a glass of wine and told the cook to get ready a good breakfast. Then a thought struck me, and I went back to the room where Lucy now was. When I came softly in, I found Van Helsing with a sheet or two of notepaper in his hand. He had evidently read it and was thinking it over as he sat with his hand to his brow. There was a look of grim satisfaction in his face, as of one who has had a doubt solved. He handed me the paper, saying only, "It dropped from Lucy's breast when we carried her to the bath." When I had read it, I stood looking at the professor, and after a pause asked him, "In God's name, what does it all mean?" Was she, or is she, mad? Or what sort of horrible danger is it? I was so bewildered that I did not know what to say more. Van Helsing put out his hand and took the paper, saying, "Do not trouble about it now. Forget it for the present. You shall know and understand it all in good time, but it will be later. And now, what is it that you came to me to say?" This brought me back to fact, and I was all myself again. "I came to speak about the certificate of death. If we do not act properly and wisely, there may be an inquest, and that paper would have to be produced. I am in hopes that we need have no inquest, for if we had, it would surely kill poor Lucy, if nothing else did. I know, and you know, and the other doctors who attend her knows, that Mrs. Westenra had disease of heart, and we can certify that she died of it. Let us fill up the certificate at once, and I shall take it myself to the registrar and go on to the undertaker." "Good. Oh, my friend John. Well thought of. Truly, Miss Lucy, if she be sad in the foes that beset her, is at least happy in the friends that love her. 1, 2, 3, all open their veins for her, besides one old man. Ah, yes, I know, friend John. I am not blind. I love you all the more for it. Now go." In that hall, I met Quincy Morris with a telegram for Arthur, telling him that Mrs. Westenra was dead, that Lucy also had been ill, but was now going on better, and that Van Helsing and I were with her. I told him where I was going, and he hurried me out. But as I was going, said, "When you come back, Jack, may I have 2 words with you all to ourselves?" I nodded in reply and went out. I found no difficulty about the registration, and arranged with the local undertaker to come up in the evening to measure for the coffin and to make arrangements. When I got back, Quincy was waiting for me. I told him I would see him as soon as I knew about Lucy and went up to her room. She was still sleeping, and the professor seemingly had not moved from his seat from his seat at her side. From his putting his finger to his lips, I gathered that he expected her to wake before long and was afraid of forestalling nature. So I went down to Quincy and took him into the breakfast room where the blinds were not drawn down and which was a little more cheerful, or rather less cheerless than the other rooms. When we were alone, he said to me, "Jack Seward, I don't want to shove myself in anywhere where I've no right to be, but this is no ordinary case. You know I love that girl and wanted to marry her. But although that's all past and gone, I can't help feeling anxious about her all the same. What is it that's wrong with her? The Dutchman, and a fine old fellow that he is, I can see that, said that time you two came into the room that you must have another transfusion of blood, and that both you and he were exhausted. Now I know well that you medical men speak in camera, and that a man must not expect to know what they consult about in private. But this is no common matter, and whatever it is, I have done my part. Is not that so?" "That's so," I said, and he went on. "I take it that both you and Van Helsing had done already what I did today. Is not that so?" "That's so. And I guess Art was in it too. When I saw him 4 days ago down at his own place, he looked queer. I have not seen anything pulled down so quick since I was on the Pampas and had a mare that I was fond of go to grass all in a night. One of those big bats that they call vampires had got at her in the night, and what with his gorge and the vein left open, there wasn't enough blood in her to let her stand up, and I had to put a bullet through her as she lay. Jack, if you may tell me without betraying confidence, Arthur was the first. Is not that so?" As he spoke, the poor fellow looked terribly anxious. He was in torture of suspense regarding the woman he loved, and his utter ignorance of the terrible mystery which seemed to surround her intensified his pain. His very heart was bleeding, and it took all the manhood of him, and there was a royal lot of it too, to keep him from breaking down. I paused before answering, for I felt that I must not betray anything which the professor wished to keep secret. But already he knew so much and guessed so much that there could be no reason for not answering, so I answered in the same phrase. "That's so. And how long has this been going on?" "About 10 days." 10 days! Then I guess, Jack Seward, that the poor pretty creature that we all love has had put into her veins within that time the blood of 4 strong men. Man alive, her whole body wouldn't hold it. Then, coming close to me, he spoke in a fierce half-whisper. "What took it out?" I shook my head. "That," I said, "is the crux. Van Helsing is simply frantic about it, and I am at my wit's end. I can't even hazard a guess. There has been a series of little circumstances which have thrown out all our calculations as to Lucy being properly watched, but these shall not occur again. Here we stay until all be well, or ill." Quincy held out his hand. "Count me in," he said. "You and the Dutchman will tell me what to do, and I'll do it." When she awoke late in the afternoon, Lucy's first movement was to feel in her breast, and to my surprise produced the paper which Van Helsing had given me to read. The careful professor had replaced it where it had come from, lest on waking she should be alarmed. Her eyes then lit on her eyes then lit on Van Helsing and on me too, and gladdened. Then she looked around the room, and seeing where she was, shuddered. She gave a loud cry and put her poor thin hands before her pale face. We both understood what that meant, that she had realized to the full of her mother's death. So we tried what we could to comfort her. Doubtless, sympathy eased her somewhat, but she was very low in thought and spirit and wept silently and weakly for a long time. We told her that either or both of us would now remain with her all the time, and that seemed to comfort her. Toward dusk she fell into a doze. Here a very odd thing occurred. While still asleep, she took the paper from her breast and tore it in two. Van Helsing stepped over and took the pieces from her. All the same, however, she went on with the act of tearing as though the material were still in her hands. Finally, she lifted her hands and opened them as though scattering the fragments. Van Helsing seemed surprised, and his brows gathered as if in thought, but he said nothing. Wait, what did I miss? I'm taking a pause because there's like a there's another entry, but what the fuck happened? I love that you said continue, and then I love the sexual tension Dracula brings in the novel. There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot. I was like, holy shit. Also, thank you for the alert, Chaos. Ooh, nice catch, Eli and Chaos with the crab roller. I'm sorry, Renfield isn't as hot in this edition. He's not, at least not in the pictures. I mean, I really like the movie Renfield, so, but that's Nicholas Holt, so he's already a cutie. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, I saw the I'm sorry, Renfield isn't as hot, and I was like, hold up, I need to scroll back up for this. I'm so sorry, I got distracted. Also, I'm gonna turn the volume on my phone off because I know my little typewriter sound for my notifications is probably annoying to y'all. I'm sorry. Oh my god, Carl, that fucking killed me. Carlito, this is why I love having you in chat. You say the things I'm thinking. It's so good. All right. All right, now we'll get back to the seriousness. A woman has died. A woman has died and another one almost died. She's safe. Safe for now. I don't know how this is going to go. I love that you're using my Monokuma for that, Carl. You're making my night. All right. 19th of September. All last night she slept fitfully, being always afraid to sleep and something weaker when she woke from it. The professor and I took in turns to watch, and we never left her for a moment unattended. Quincy Morris said nothing about his intention, but I knew that all night long he patrolled around and around the house. Bro, Quincy is putting his life on the line. Honestly, damn, my guy. And he was the one that was like he came off as the playboy kind of, right? Like he was the charming one. When the day came, its searching light showed the ravages in poor Lucy's strength. She was hardly able to turn her head, and the little nourishment which she could take seemed to do her no good. At times she slept, and both Van Helsing and I noticed a difference in her, between sleeping and waking. Whilst asleep, she looked stronger, although more haggard, and her breathing was softer. Her open mouth showed the pale gums drawn back from the teeth, which thus looked positively longer and sharper than usual. When she woke, the softness of her eyes evidently changed the expression, for she looked her own self, although a dying one. In the afternoon she asked for Arthur, and we telegraphed for him. Quincy went off to meet him at the station. When he arrived, it was nearly 6 o'clock, and the sun was setting full and warm, and the red light streamed in through the window and gave more color to the pale cheeks. When he saw her, Arthur was simply choking with emotion, and none of us could speak. In the hours that had passed, the fits of sleep, or the comatose condition that passed for it, had grown more frequent, so that the pauses when conversation was possible were shortened. Arthur's presence, however, seemed to act as a stimulant, She rallied a little and spoke to him more brightly than she had done since we arrived. He too pulled himself together and spoke as cheerily as he could, so that the best was made of everything. It was now nearly 1 o'clock, and he and Van Helsing are sitting with her. I am to relieve them in a quarter of an hour, and I am entering this on Lucy's phonograph. Until 6 o'clock they are to try to rest. I fear that tomorrow will end our watching, for the shock has been too great. The poor child cannot rally. I fear that tomorrow night will end our watching, for the shock has been too great. The poor child cannot rally. God help us all. Oh, I was like, what? Pass in the chat. Okay. Letter. Mina Harker to Lucy Westenra, unopened by her. 17th of September. My dearest Lucy, it seems an age since I heard from you, or indeed since I wrote. You will pardon me, I know, for all my faults when you have read all my budget of news. Well, I got my husband back all right. When we arrived at Exeter, there was a carriage waiting for us, and in it, though he had an attack of gout, Mr. Hawkins. He took us to his house, where there were more rooms for us all nice and comfortable, and we dined together. After dinner, Mr. Hawkins said, My dears, I want to drink your health and prosperity, and may every blessing attend you both. I know you both from children, and have with love and pride seen you grow up. Now, I want you to make your home here with me. I have left to me neither chick nor child. All are gone, and in my will I have left you everything. I cried, Lucy dear, as Jonathan and the old man clasped hands. Our evening was a very, very happy one. So here we are, installed in this beautiful old house, and from both my bedroom and the drawing room I can see the great elms of the cathedral close, with their great black stems standing out against the old yellow stone of the cathedral, and I can hear the rooks overhead cawing and chattering and gossiping all day, after the manner of rooks and humans. I am busy, I need not tell you, arranging things in housekeeping. Jonathan and Mr. Hawkins are busy all day, for now that Jonathan is a partner, Mr. Hawkins wants to tell him all about the clients. How is your dear mother getting on? I wish I could run up to town for a day or two to see you, dear, but I dare not go yet, with so much on my shoulders, and Jonathan wants looking after still. He is beginning to put some flesh on his bones again, but he was terribly weakened by the long illness. Even now he sometimes starts out of his sleep in a sudden way and awakes all trembling until I can coax him back to his usual placidity. However, thank God, these occasions grow less frequent as the days go on, and they will in time pass away altogether, I trust. And now I have told you my news, let me ask yours. When are you to be married, and where, and who's to perform the ceremony? And what are you to wear, and is it to be a public or a private wedding? Tell me all about it, dear. Tell me all about everything, for there is nothing which interests you which will not be dear to me. Jonathan asked me to send his respectful duty, but I do not think that is good enough from the junior partner of the important firm of Hawkins and Harker. And so, as you love me and he loves me, and I love you with all the moods and tenses of the verb, I send you simply his love instead. Goodbye, my dear Lucy, and all blessings on you. Yours, Mina Harker. This wasn't open? That's so fucking sad. Report from Patrick Hennessy, M.D., MRCS, LKQCPI, etc., to John Stewart, M.D. Damn, that is a lot of titles. I'm like, what is that? Like, I get the doctor one. What is MRCS? Or LKCPI? I don't know. I'm not looking that up right now. Anyways, 20th of September. My dear sir, in accordance with your wishes, I enclose a report of the conditions of everything left in my charge. With regard to patient Renfield, there is more to say. He has had another outbreak, which might have had a dreadful ending, but which, as it fortunately happened, was unattended with any unhappy results. This afternoon's a carrier's cart with two men made a call at the empty house whose ground about on ours, the house to which you will remember the patient twice ran away. The men stopped at our gate to ask the porter their way, as they were strangers. I was myself looking out of the study windows, having a smoke after dinner, and saw one of them come up to the house. As he passed the window of Renfield's room, the patient began to rate him from within, and called him all the foul names he could lay his tongue to. The man, who seemed a decent fellow enough, contented himself by telling him to shut up for a foul-mouthed beggar. Whereupon our man accused him of robbing him and wanting to murder him, and said that he would hinder him if he were to swing for it. I opened the window and signed to the man not to notice, so he contented himself after looking the place over and making up his mind as to what kind of place he had got to by saying, Lord bless ye, sir. I wouldn't mind what was said to me in a bloomin' madhouse. I pity ye and the governor for having to live in the house with a wild beast like that. Then he asked his way civilly enough, and I told him where the gate of the empty house was. He went away, followed by threats and curses and revelings from our man. I went down to see if I could make out any cause for his anger, since he is usually such a well-behaved man, and except his violent fits, nothing of the kind has ever occurred. I found him, to my astonishment, quite composed and most genial in his manner. I tried to get him to talk of the incident, but he blandly asked me questions as to what I meant, and led me to believe that he was completely oblivious of the affair. It was, I am sorry to say, however, only another instance of his cunning, for within half an hour I heard of him again. This time he had broken out through the window of his room and was running down the avenue. I called to the attendants to follow me and ran after him, for I feared he was intent on some mischief. My fear was justified when I saw the same cart which had passed before coming down the road, having on it some great wooden boxes. The men were wiping their foreheads and were flushed in the face as if with violent exercise. Before I could get up to him, the patient rushed at them and pulling one of them off the cart, began to knock his head against the ground. If I had not seized him just at the moment, I believe he would have killed the man there and then. The other fellow jumped down and struck him over the head with the butt end of his heavy whip. It was a terrible blow, but he did not seem to mind it, but seized him also and struggled with the three of us, pulling us to and fro as if we were kittens. You know I am no lightweight, and the others are both burly men. At first he was silent in his fighting, but as we began to master him and the attendants were putting a strait waistcoat on him, he began to shout, "I'll frustrate them. They shan't rob me. They shan't murder me by inches. I'll fight for my lord and master," and all sorts of similar incoherent ravings. It was with very considerable difficulty that they got him back to the house and put him in the padded room. One of the attendants, Hardy, had a finger broken. However, I set it all right, and he is going on well. The two carriers were at first loud in their threats of actions for damages, and promised to rain all the penalties of the law on us. Their threats were, however, mingled with some sort of indirect apology for the defeat of the two of them by a feeble madman. They said that if it had not been for the way their strength had been spent in carrying and raising the heavy boxes to the cart, they would have made short work of him. Would they? Would they really? They've already said that Renfield had some serious feats of strength. They gave us another reason for their defeat, the extraordinary state of drought, to which they had been reduced by the dusty nature of their occupation and the reprehensible distance from the scene of their labors of any place of public entertainment. I quite understood their drift, and after a stiff glass of grog, or rather more of the same, and with each sovereign in hand, they made light of the attack, and swore that they would encounter a worse madman any day for the pleasure of meeting so bloomin' good a bloke as your correspondent. I took their names and addresses in case they might be needed. They are as follows: Jack Smollett of Dudding's Rent, King George's Road, Great Woolworth, and Thomas Snelling Peter, Fairley's Row, Guide Court, Bethnal Green. They are both in the in the phone book? They are both in the employment of Harris and Sons, Moving and Shipment Company, Orange Masters Yard, Soho. I shall report to you any matter of interest occurring here, and shall wire you at once if there is anything of importance. Believe me, dear sir, yours faithfully, Patrick Hennessy. And the ads are about to hit in 30 seconds. The next part is letter Mina Harker to Lucy Westenra, unopened by her. Another unopened letter. This is 18th of September, so the day after. The after her last one. My dearest Lucy, I'll wait till after the ad break to continue reading this. I'm so sorry we started late today, but I will be reading till probably like 12 or 1, depending. I hope you all are enjoying this. I am. While the ads are about to hit, you guys, I'm gonna check on something. I don't remember if I did this today. I'm gonna drink some water. always forget to do this thing. What do you think of the epistolary form? I kind of like it, honestly. It's interesting way to tell a story, and it does make you feel like you're in different characters' their headspaces, which is kind of nice. I think I prefer the epistolary to like the third person, with the or yeah, third person with the narrator looking down. What did the five fingers say to the face? I don't know. I'm gonna guess it's like like something about a fight. Go on, tell us. Slap. Oh my god. Why are you angry? Hello, Trouble. How you doing? Are you upset you got shouted out? Because that's just not my fault. How you doing, Trouble? Also, congratulations the other day on your accomplishment at work. I don't want to forget to say it. I'm only looking at my phone because it's break. You're welcome. I'm getting ready to sleep while I got work tomorrow. That's totally fine, Trouble. Don't worry about it. I totally get that you have to sleep, alright? We all need sleep. Employee of the quarter, you did it! You did it, my boy! Congratulations. I mean, hey, it sounds like you've been working your ass off, so you deserve it, Trouble. You put in the work, alright? Welcome back from the ad, Starlings. For everyone who's here, don't forget to be following It's Dire Lobo. I call him Trouble. He's awesome. He is Kay's actual cousin, and he's awesome. Trouble's a lot of fun. Another 18 plus streamer besides me. Although he does more. He unlike me, he does drink. But yeah, yeah. You Trouble deserves all the claps right now. He got he got employee of the quarter, which we're all very proud of him for. Drink me? That's like it's like me sarcastic. Jamás, never. Modelo time. Trouble likes what are they called? 808s? Is that right? Is that what they're called? I am Angel Violet. You are a fallen one, but 805s. There it is. Thank you. I mean, not that I couldn't talk. I'm also a fallen one. 805 white. Yes. There's Teddy Bear. I've been wondering where you were. I didn't say you weren't an angel. I said you drank. And I said I don't. A fallen one got me. Cerveza Crystal. I love it. I'm so glad I made you laugh, Trouble. He heard beer and ran over. I said beer. He thought I said bear. That's what it was. Oh, that reminds me, Eli. I got this. I got you this sticker that I got in Vegas. Last time I was there, and I still have to give it to you I still have to give it to you. I've been holding on to it, but it makes me smile. It's you and me if we had a child. Get it? A deer and a bear. Beer. Not sure if you've seen it, Violet, but I gotta send you to you if you haven't. I love the Cerveza Crystals commercial. I don't think I ever have. I thought you would like that, Eli. I thought you would love it, though. The fucking deer bear beer. Oh, watch them. All right, I'll have to look at them later. Put them in the memes in the Discord, and I'll watch it. Oh, oh my god, nice catch, Trouble, with the Rookity. I do like the evolution of the Rookity, the Wattrel, I think it is. I like it. Although the Rookity is cuter, but I like the moves. Oh my god. So I believe in Spain or some Latin country, but they cut to commercials different than we do, and you're going to love it. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's fair. Different countries do their commercials very differently. It's very funny sometimes. Like sometimes they actually have like a cute message or something, and then there's other compared to the American ones that are super sexual for no reason. uh it's great. But Trouble, don't. Yeah, I know you got to get ready for bed, and I want to keep reading this. So, get comfy. I'm gonna keep reading Dracula. All right. Letter. Mina Harker to Lucy Westenra, unopened by her. 18th of September. My dearest Lucy, such a sad blow has befallen us. Mr. Hawkins has died very suddenly. Some may not think it so sad for us, but we had both come to so love him that it really seems as though we had lost a father. I never knew either father or mother, so that the dear old man's death is a real blow to me. Jonathan is greatly distressed. It is not only that he feels sorrow, deep sorrow, for the dear good man who has befriended him all his life, and now at the end has treated him like his own son, and left him a fortune which to people of our modest bringing up is wealth beyond the dreams of avarice. But Jonathan feels it on another account. He says the amount of responsibility which it puts upon him makes him nervous. He begins to doubt himself. I try to cheer him up, and my belief in him helps him to have a belief in himself, but it is here that the grave shock that he experienced tells upon him the most. Oh, it is too hard that a sweet, simple, noble, strong nature such as his, a nature which enabled him by our dear, good friend's aid to rise from clerk to master in a few years, should be so injured that the very essence of its strength is gone. Forgive me, dear, if I worry you with my troubles in the midst of your own happiness, but, Lucy, dear, I must tell someone, for the strain of keeping up a brave and cheerful appearance to Jonathan tries me, and I have no one here that I can confide in. I dread coming up to London, as we must do the day after tomorrow, for poor Mr. Hawkins left in his will that he was to be buried in the grave with his father. As there are no relations at all, Jonathan will have to be chief mourner. I shall try to I shall try to run over to see you, dearest, if only for a few minutes. Forgive me for troubling you. With all your blessings, with all blessings, your loving Mina Harker. And then, okay. So that one was another letter that Mina didn't open because she was dealing with being drained. Dr. Seward's diary, 20th of September. It has been sent. Okay. I will watch it later. 20th of September. Only resolution and habit can let me make an entry tonight. I am too miserable, too low-spirited, too sick of the world and all in it, including life itself, that I would not care if I heard this moment the flapping of the wings of the angel of death. And he has been flapping those grim wings to come purpose of late. Lucy's mother and Arthur's father, and now... Let me get on with my work. I duly relieved Van Helsing in his watch over Lucy. We wanted Arthur to go rest also, but he refused at first. It was only when I told him that he should want him to help us that it was only when I told him that we should want him to help us during the day, and that we must not all break down for want of rest, lest Lucy should suffer, that he agreed to go. Van Helsing was very kind to him. Come, my child, he said. Come with me. You are sick and weak, and have had much sorrow and much mental pain, as well as that tax on your strength that we know of. You must not be alone, for to be alone is to be full of fears and alarms. Come to the drawing-room, where there is a big fire and there are 2 sofas. You shall lie on one and I on the other, and our sympathy will be comfort to each other, even though we do not speak, and even if we sleep. Arthur went off with him, casting back a longing look on Lucy's face, which lay on her pillow, almost whiter than the lawn. She lay quiet still, and I looked around the room to see that all was as it should be. I could see that the professor had carried out in this room, as in the other, his purpose of using garlic, the whole of the window sashes reeking with it, and around Lucy's neck, over the silk handkerchief which Van Helsing made her keep on, was a rough chaplet of some of the same odorous flowers. Lucy was breathing somewhat stertorously, and her face was at its worst, for the open mouth showed the pale gums. Her teeth in the dim, uncertain light seemed longer and sharper than they had been in the morning. In particular, by some trick of the light, the canine teeth looked longer and sharper than the rest. I sat down by her, and presently she moved uneasily. At the same moment, there came a sort of dull flapping or buffeting at the window. I went over to it softly and peeped out by the corner of the blind. There was a full moonlight, and I could see that the noise was made by a great bat, which wheeled around, doubtless attracted by the light, although so dim, and every now and again struck the window with its wings. When I came back to my seat, I found that Lucy had moved slightly and had torn away the garlic flowers from her throat. I replaced them as well as I could and sat watching her. Presently she woke, and I gave her food, as Van Helsing had prescribed. She took but a little, and that languidly. There did not seem to be with her now the unconscious struggle for life and strength that had hitherto so marked her illness. It struck me as curious that the moment she became conscious she pressed the garlic flowers close to her. It was certainly odd that whenever she got in that lethargic state with the stertorous breathing, she put the flowers from her, but that when she waked she clutched them close. There was also no possibility of making any mistake about this, for in the long hours that followed, she had many spells of sleeping and waking and repeated both actions many times. Good night, Trouble, love you. Get some rest, you deserve it. At 6 o'clock, Van Helsing came to relieve me. Arthur had then fallen into a doze, and he mercifully let him sleep on. When he saw Lucy's face, I could hear the hissing indraw of his breath, and he said to me in a sharp whisper, "Drop the blind. I want light." Then he bent down, and with his face almost touching Lucy's, examined her carefully. He removed the flowers and lifted the silk handkerchief from her throat. As he did so, he started back, and I could hear his ejaculation, "Mein Gott," as it was smothered in his throat. I bent over and looked, too, and as I noticed, some queer chill came over me. The wounds on the throat had absolutely disappeared. For fully 5 minutes, Van Helsing stood looking at her with his face at its sternest. Then he turned to me and said calmly, "She is dying. It will not be long now. It will be much difference, mark me, whether she dies conscious or in her sleep. Wake that poor boy and let him come and see the last. He trusts us, and we have promised him." I went to the dining room and waked him. He was dazed for a moment, but when he saw the sunlight streaming in through the edge of the shutters, he thought he was late, and expressed his fear. I assured him that Lucy was still asleep, but told him greatly as I could that both Van Helsing and I feared that the end was near. He covered his face with his hands and slid down on his knees by the sofa, where he remained, perhaps a minute, with his head buried, praying, whilst his shoulders shook with grief. I took him by the hand and raised him up. "Come," I said, "my dear old fellow, summon all your fortitude. It will be best and easiest for her." When we came into Lucy's room, I could see that Van Helsing had, with his usual forethought, been putting matters straight and making everything look as pleasing as possible. He had even brushed Lucy's hair so that it lay on the pillow in its usual sunny ripples. When he came into the room, she opened her eyes and, seeing him, whispered softly, "Arthur, oh my love, I am so glad you have come." He was stooping to kiss her when Van Helsing motioned him back. "No," he whispered, "not yet. Hold her hand, it will comfort her more." So Arthur took her hand and knelt beside her, and she looked her best with all the soft lines matching the angelic beauty of her eyes. Then, gradually, her eyes closed, and she sank to sleep. For a little bit her breast heaved softly, and her breath came and went like a tired child's. And then, insensibly, there came the strange change which I had noticed in the night. Her breathing grew stertorous, the mouth opened, and the pale gums, drawn back, made the teeth look longer and sharper than ever. In a sort of sleepwalking, vague, unconscious way she opened her eyes, which were now dull and hard at once, and said in a soft, voluptuous voice, such as I had never heard from her lips, "Arthur, oh my love, I am so glad you have come. Kiss me." Arthur bent eagerly over to kiss her, but at that instant Van Helsing, who, like me, had been startled by her voice, swooped upon him, and catching him by the neck with both hands, dragged him back with a fury of strength which I never thought he could have possessed, and actually hurled him almost across the room. Not for your life, he said. Not for your living soul and hers, and he stood between them like a lion at bay. Arthur was so taken aback that he did not for a moment know what to do or say, and before any impulse of violence could seize him, he realized the place and the occasion and stood silent, waiting. I kept my eyes fixed on Lucy, as did Van Helsing, and we saw a spasm as of rage flit like a shadow over her face. The sharp teeth cha- the sharp teeth champed together. Then her eyes closed and she breathed heavily. Very shortly after, she opened her eyes in all their softness, and putting out her poor, pale, thin hand, took Van Helsing's great brown one. Drawing it to her, she kissed it. My true friend, she said in a faint voice, but with untellable pathos. My true friend and his. Oh, guard him and give me peace. I swear it, he said solemnly, kneeling beside her and holding up his hand as one who registers an oath. Then he turned to Arthur and said to him, Come, my child, take her hand in yours and kiss her on the forehead, and only once. Their eyes met instead of their lips, and so they parted. Lucy's eyes closed, and Van Helsing, who had been watching closely, took Arthur's arm and drew him away. And then Lucy's breathing became stertorous again, and all at once it ceased. It is all over, said Van Helsing. She is dead. I took Arthur by the arm and led him away to the drawing room. Chad is Lucy cooked. Dr. Van Cockblock. I mean, she was. I think that was a last effort to try and bite him, so. Dr. Van Helsing was like, nope, nope. If you guys both want to, I guess, still make it to heaven, because that's right. There's some religious in here. That can't happen. So. I love that Chad is Lucy cooked. Fucking killed me. Carl. Uh, oh shit. I gotta. I took Arthur by the arm and led him away to the drawing room, where he sat down and covered his face with his hands, sobbing in a way that nearly broke me down to see. I went back to the room and found Van Helsing looking at poor Lucy, and his face was sterner than ever. Some change had come over her body. Death had given back part of her beauty, for her brow and cheeks had recovered some of their flowing lines. Even the lips had lost their deadly pallor. It was as if the blood, no longer needed for the working of the heart, had gone to make the harshness of death as little rude as might be. We thought her dying while she slept, and sleeping when she died. Why is this part is put like it's part from a poem. We thought her dying whilst she slept, and sleeping when she died. I stood beside Van Helsing and said, Ah, well, poor girl, there is peace for her at last. Ah, well, poor girl, there is peace for her at last. It is the end. He turned to me and said with grave solemnity, Not so. Alas, not so. It is only the beginning. When I asked him what he meant, he only shook his head and answered, We can do nothing as yet. Wait and see. Damn. And then the next chapter's 13. I'm like, isn't that supposed to be the unlucky chapter? But all right. Jesus Christ. There's a Bellum in chat. I'm gonna show you all the pretty arts for 13, if I can. There we go. Also, I know the ink looks like magenta kind of on my because of my my camera, but it is red. This is a bright red, by the way, so y'all know. All right. Jesus. Chapter 13. Dr. Seward's diary continued. It looks pink. I know it looks pink, but it's straight up bright red. It's a bright red on like in person. I mean, so are my pillows too. The pillows back there are bright red, but they look pinkish. It's just because of the way I filter the my camera. Um Yeah. I just don't. I hate when I look so pale, so I just put a little bit of like the rosiness. But then because of that, this looks pink instead of red. All right. Dr. Seward's diary continued. The funeral was arranged for the next succeeding day so that Lucy and her mother might be buried together. I attended to all the ghastly formalities, and the urbane undertaker proved that his staff were afflicted, or blessed, with something of his own obsequious suavity. Even the woman who performed the last offices for the dead remarked to me in a confidential, brother professional way, when she had come out from the death chamber, "She makes a very beautiful corpse, sir. It's quite a privilege to attend on her. It's not too much to say that she will do credit to our establishment." I noticed that Van Helsing never kept far away. This was possible from the disordered state of things in the household. There was no relatives at hand, and as Arthur had to be back the next day to attend to his father's funeral, we were unable to notify anyone who should have been bidden. Under the circumstances, Van Helsing and I took it upon ourselves to examine papers, etc. He insisted upon looking over Lucy's papers himself. I asked him why, for I feared that he, being a foreigner, might not be quite aware of English legal requirements, and so might in ignorance make some unnecessary trouble. He answered me, I know. You forget that I am a lawyer as well as a doctor, but this is not altogether for the law. You knew that when you avoided the coroner. I have more than him to avoid. There may be papers more, such as this. As he spoke, he took from his pocketbook the memorandum which had been in Lucy's breast and which she had torn in her sleep. When you find anything for the solicitor who is for the late Mrs. Westenra, please seal all her papers and write him tonight. For me, I watch here in the room and in Miss Lucy's old room all night, and I myself search for what may be. It is not well that her very thoughts go into the hands of strangers. I went on with my part of the work, and in another half hour had found the name and address of Mrs. Westenra's solicitor, and had written to him. All the poor lady's papers were in order. Explicit directions regarding the place of burial were given. I had hardly sealed the letter when, to my surprise, Van Helsing walked into my room, saying, "Can I help you, friend John? I am free, and if I may, my service is to you." Have you? I am free, and if I may, my service is to you. Have you got what you looked for? I asked, to which he replied, "I did not look for anything specific. I only hope to find and find I have all that there was. Only some letters and a few memoranda and a diary new begun. But I have them here, and we shall for the present say nothing of them. I shall see that poor lad tomorrow evening, and with his sanction I shall use some." When we had finished the work in hand, he said to me, "And now, friend John, I think we made a bed. We want sleep, both you and I, and rest to uh, rest to recuperate. Tomorrow we shall have much to do, but for the tonight there is no need of us, alas." Before turning in, we went to look at poor Lucy. The undertaker had certainly done his work well, for the room was turned into a small chapelle ardente. There was a wilderness of beautiful white flowers, and death was made as little repulsive as might be. The end of the winding sheer The end of the winding sheet was laid over the face. When the professor bent over and turned it gently back, we both stared at the beauty before us, the tall wax candle showing a sufficient light to note it well. All Lucy's loveliness had come back to her in death, and the hours that had passed, instead of leaving traces of decay's effacing fingers, had but restored the beauty of life, till positively I could not believe my eyes that I was looking at a corpse. The professor looked sternly grave. He had not loved her as I had, and there was no need for tears in his eyes. He said to me, "Remain till I return," and left the room. He came back with a handful of wild garlic from the box waiting in the hall, but which had not been opened, and placed the flowers amongst the others on and around the bed. Then he took from his neck, inside his collar, a little gold crucifix, and placed it over the mouth. He restored the sheet in its place, and we came away. I was undressing in my own room when a premonitory tap at the door. He entered and at once began to speak. "Tomorrow, I want you to bring me before night a set of post-mortem knives." "Must we make an autopsy?" I asked. "Yes and no. I want to operate, but not as you think. Let me tell you now, but not a word to another. I want to cut off her head and take out her heart. You, a surgeon, and so shocked. You, whom I have seen with no tremble of hand or heart, do operations of life and death that make the rest shudder. Oh, but I must not forget, my dear friend John, that you loved her, and I have not forgotten it, for it is I that shall operate, and you must only help. I would like to do it tonight, but for Arthur I must not. He will be free after his father's funeral tomorrow, and he will want to see her. To see it. Then, when she is coffined ready for the next day, you and I shall come when all sleep. We shall unscrew the coffin lid, and shall do our operation, and then replace all so that none know save we alone. But why do it at all? The girl is dead. Why mutilate her poor body without need? And if there is no necessity for a post-mortem and nothing to gain by it, no good to her, to us, to science, to human knowledge, why do it? Without such it is monstrous. For answer he put his hand on my shoulder and said with infinite tenderness, Friend John, I pity your poor bleeding heart, and I love you the more because it does so bleed. If I could, I would take on myself the burden that you do bear. But there are things that you know not, but that you shall know, and bless me for knowing, though they are not pleasant things. John, my child, you have been my friend how many years? And yet did you ever know me to do with any without good cause? And yet did you ever know me to do any without good cause? I may err, I am but man, but I believe in all I do. Was it not for these causes that you sent for me when the great trouble came? Yes, were you not amazed, nay horrified, when I would not let Arthur kiss his love, though she was dying and snatched him away by all my strength? Yes, and yet you saw how she thanked me, with her so beautiful dying eyes, her voice, too, so weak, and she kissed my rough old hand and blessed me? Yes, and did you not hear me swear promise to her, that so she closed her eyes grateful? Yes. Well, I have good reason now for all I want to do. You have for many years trusted me. You have believed me weeks past, when there will be things so strange that you might have well doubt. Believe me yet a little, friend John. If you trust me not, then I must tell what I think, and that is not perhaps well. And if I work, as work I shall, no matter trust nor or no trust, without my friend trusting me, I work with heavy heart and feel, oh, so lonely when I want all help and courage that may be. He paused a moment and went on solemnly, Friend John, there are strange and terrible days before us. Let us not be two but one, and that so we work to a good end. Will you not have faith in me? Not gonna lie, a lot of that sounded pretty gay. There was a lot of like, excuse me? But I'm just reading between the lines because I want to. I think it's funny. I couldn't help it. I'm sorry. Taking all the seriousness out of this. They're just besties. They're just bros. I know. I mean, but the context of this, like, I don't know. I'm like, what was this book written? Would it have meant the same thing? I don't know. Um, I can't take shit seriously. I'm so sorry. I took his hand and promised him. I held my door open as he went away and watched him go into his room and close the door. As I stood without moving, I saw one of the maids pass silently along the passage. She had her back toward me, so did not see me, and go into the room where Lucy lay. The sight touched me. Devotion is so rare, and we are so grateful to those who show it unasked to those we love. Here was a poor girl putting aside the terrors which she naturally had of death to go watch alone by the bier of the mistress who she loved, so that the poor clay might not be lonely till laid to eternal rest. There's a dot of blood on this page. I wonder if the dots of blood mean anything. I kind of think they do. I kind of think that dots of blood are like a signal that someone's gonna die, and I think we know who. I must have slept long and soundly, for it was broad daylight when Van Helsing waked by. I must have slept long and soundly, for it was broad daylight when Van Helsing waked me by coming into my room. He came over to my bedside and said, You need not trouble about the knives. We shall not do it. Why not? I asked, for a solemnity of the night before had greatly impressed me. Because, he said sternly, it is too late, or too early. See, here he held up the little golden crucifix. This was stolen in the night. How stolen? I asked in wonder, since you have it now. Because I get it back from the worthless wretch who stole it, from the woman who robbed the dead and the living. Her punishment will surely come, but not through me. She knew not altogether what she did, and thus unknowing, she only strode. She only stole. Now we must wait. He went away on the word, leaving me with a new mystery to think of, a new puzzle to grapple with. The forenoon was a dreary time, but at noon the solicitor came, Mr. Marquand of Holman, sons Marquand and Litterdale. He was very genial and very appreciative of what we had done, and took off our hands all cares as to details. During lunch he told us that Mrs. Westenra had for some time expected sudden death from her heart, and had put her affairs in absolute order. He informed us that, with the exception of a certain entailed property of Lucy's father, which now, in default of direct issue, went back to a distant branch of the family, the whole estate, real and personal, was left absolutely to Arthur Holmwood. When he had told us so much, he went on, frankly, we did our best to prevent such a testamentary disposition, and pointed out certain contingencies that might leave her daughter either penniless or not so free as she should be, to act regarding as a matrimonial alliance. Baby. Indeed, we pressed the matter so far that we almost came into collision, for she asked us if we were or were not prepared to carry out her wishes. Of course, we had then no alternative but to accept. We were right in principle, and 99 times out of 100 we should have proved, by the logic of events, the accuracy of our judgment. Frankly, however, I must admit that in this case any other form of disposition would have rendered it impossible the carrying out of her wishes. For her, her predeceasing for by her, her For by her predeceasing her daughter, the latter would have come into possession of the property, and even had she only survived her mother by 5 minutes, her property would, in case there were no will, and a will was a practical impossibility in such a case, have been treated at her decease as under intestacy, in which case Lord Godalming, though so dear a friend, would have no claim in the world, and the inheritors, being remote, would not be likely to abandon their just rights for sentimental reasons regarding an entire stranger. I assure you, my dear sirs, I am rejoiced at the result. Perfectly rejoiced. Oh, good baby. Are you okay? Oh, I'll remove this box for you here. I don't know if you guys can see him, but he jumped. You're okay, baby. Oh, you're selling him for the story. Good boy. He was underneath me, but now he's up there. Uh, where was I? I am rejoiced at the result. Perfectly rejoiced. He was a good fellow, but his rejoicing at the one little part in which he was officially interested, of so great a tragedy, was an object lesson in the limitations of sympathetic understanding. He did not remain long, but said he would look in later in that day and see Lord Godalming. His coming, however, had been a certain comfort to us, since it assured us that we should not have dread hostile criticism as to any of our acts. Arthur was expected at 5 o'clock, so a little before that time we visited the death chamber. It was so in very truth, for now both mother and daughter lay in it. The undertaker, true to his craft, had made the best display he could of his goods, and there was a mortuary air about the place that lowered our spirits at once. Van Helsing ordered the former arrangements to be adhered to, explaining that as Lord Godalming was coming very soon, it would be less harrowing to his feelings to see all that was left to his fiancée quite alone. The undertaker seemed shocked at his own stupidity, and exerted himself to restore things to the condition in which we left them the night before, so that when Arthur came, such shock to his feelings as we could avoid were saved. Poor fellow! He looked desperately sad and broken. Even his stalwart manhood seemed to have shrunk somewhat under the strain of his much tried emotions. Are they talking about his dick? I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. It was right there. All right, you guys can type in dirty for me. Is one of my rods round to up the count? I'm, I'm sorry. It's sad. We're trying to make fun of it. Okay. Eli, you put a space. Thank you for trying, teddy bear. Thank you. I think I might have told one more joke earlier, but yeah. Um He had, I knew, been very genuinely and devotedly attached to his father, and to lose him, and at such a time, was a bitter blow to him. With with me he was warm as ever, and to Van Helsing he was sweetly courteous, but I could not help seeing that there was some constraint within him. The professor noticed it too, and motioned me to bring him upstairs. I did so, and left him at the door of the room, as I felt he would like to be quite alone with her, but he took my arm and led me in, saying huskily, he put on a husky voice, said to you? Okay. Sorry. Oh, nice catch with the grammar. Okay. Um, but he took my arm and led me in, saying huskily, you loved her too, old fellow. She told me all about it, and there was no friend had a closer place in her heart than you. I don't know how to thank you for all you have done for her. I can't think yet. Here, he suddenly broke down and threw his arms around my shoulders and laid his head on my breast, crying, oh, Jack, Jack, what shall I do? The whole of life seems gone from me all at once, and there is nothing in the wide world for me to live for. I comforted him as well as I could. In such cases, men do not need much expression. A grip of the hand, the tightening of an arm over the shoulder, a sob in unison, are expressions of sympathy. Are expressions of sympathy dear to a man's heart. I stood still and silent till his sobs died away, and then I said softly to him, come and look at her. Together we moved over to the bed, and I lifted the lawn from her face. God, how beautiful she was! Every hour seemed to be enhancing her loveliness. It frightened and amazed me somewhat, and as for Arthur, he fell trembling, and finally was shaken with doubt as with an ague. At last, after a long pause, he said to me in a faint whisper, Jack, is she really dead? I assured him sadly that it was so, and went on to suggest, for I felt that such a horrible doubt should not have life for a moment longer than I could help, that it often happened that after death faces become softened and even resolved into their youthful beauty, that this was especially so when death had been preceded by any acute or prolonged suffering. So you straight up lied to him? Well, I don't think that's true. Okay, that's kind of gay. Thank you, Carl. I couldn't help it. It made me laugh to read. It seemed to quite do away with any doubt, and after kneeling beside the couch for a while, and looking at her lovingly and long, he turned aside. I told him that must be goodbye, as the coffin had to be prepared. So he went back and took her dead hand in his and kissed it, and bent over and kissed her forehead. He came away fondly, looking back over his shoulder at her as he came. That's what she said. I couldn't help it. It was right there. Oh, I'm so sorry. I left him in the drawing room and told Van Helsing that he had said goodbye. So the latter went to the kitchen to tell the undertaker's men to proceed with the preparations and to screw up the coffin. When he came out of the room again, I told him of Arthur's question, and he replied, I'm not surprised. Just now I doubted for a moment myself. We all dined together, and I could see that poor Art was trying to make the best of things. Van Helsing had been silent all dinner time, but when we had lit our cigars, he said, Lord. But Arthur interrupted him. No, no, not that, for God's sakes. Not yet, at any rate. Forgive me, sir. I did not mean to speak offensively. It is only because my loss is so I did not mean to speak so offensively. It is only because my loss is so recent. The professor answered very sweetly, I only used that name because I was in doubt. I must not call you Mister, and I have grown to love you. Yes, my dear boy, to love you, as Arthur. Arthur held out his hand and took the old man's warmly. Call me what you will, he said. I hope I may always have that title of a friend. And let me say that I am at a loss for words to thank you for your goodness to my poor dear. He paused a moment and went on. I know that she understood your goodness even better than I do, and if I was rude or in any way wanting at that time you acted so. You remember. The professor nodded. You must forgive me. He answered with a grave kindness. I know it was hard for you to quite trust me then, for to trust such violence needs to understand, and I take it that you do not, that you cannot trust me now, for you do not yet understand, and there may be more times when I shall want you to trust when you cannot, and may not and must not yet understand. But the time will come when your trust shall be whole and complete in me, and when you shall understand as though the sunlight himself shone through. Then you shall bless me from first to last for your own sake, and for the sake of others, and for her dear sake, to whom I swore to protect. And indeed, sir, said Arthur warmly, I shall in all I shall in always trust you. I know and believe you had a very noble heart, and you are Jack's friend, and you were hers. You shall do what you like. The professor cleared his throat a couple of times as though about to speak and finally said, May I ask you something now? Certainly. You know that Mrs. Westenra left you all her property. No, poor dear, I never thought of it. And as it is all yours, you have a right to deal with it as you will. I want you to give me permission to read all Miss Lucy's papers and letters. Believe me, it is no idle curiosity. I have a motive of which, be sure, she would have approved. I have them all here. I took them before we knew that all was yours, so that no stranger's hand might touch them, no strange eye look through words into her soul. I shall keep them if I may, even you may not see them yet, but I shall keep them safe. No word shall be lost, and in the good time I shall give them back to you. It's a hard thing I ask, but you will do it, will you not, for Lucy's sake? Arthur spoke out heartily, like his old self. Dr. Van Helsing, you may do what you will. I feel that in saying this I am doing what my dear one would have approved. I shall not trouble you with questions till the time comes. The old professor stood up as he said solemnly, And you are right, there will be pain for us all, but it will not be and you are right, there will be pain for us all, but it will not be all pain. Nor will this pain be the last. We and you too, you most of all, my dear boy, will have to pass through the bitter water before we reach the sweet. But we must be brave of heart and unselfish and do our duty, and all will be well. I slept on a sofa in Arthur's room that night. Van Helsing did not go. Van Helsing did not go to bed at all. He went to and fro as if patrolling the house, and was never out of sight of the room where Lucy lay in her coffin, strewn with the wild garlic flowers, which sent, through the odor of lily and rose, a heavy, overpowering smell into the night. It's 10, so I have to take a pill. Hold on. Oh, hello, Thea. How are you doing? Happy Sunday. I'm doing great. Uh, I, s- I got to take a long nap earlier today. Uh, and I got to play a game for a little bit. I was playing Disney Dreamlight Valley without y'all. I will admit. I was like, I'm just gonna grind a little, and then got a little carried away. Well, I didn't. Like, I didn't really. I don't think what I did was missions exactly, but I did like, I don't think I did any like main story stuff. I did like side quest stuff. I think. I think. I don't know. I've never played the game before. I hope I did. Mm, okay. They smashing. Go. Wait, who? The guy. Uh, but playing games without us, no way. Well, I was just, I don't know. It was something I was doing in the morning. I wanted to get it out of my out of my system. You know, like when you really want to do something, and you're like, I want to do it right now, and if I keep avoiding it, it's just gonna stay in the back of my head. That's how that was me this morning. But don't worry. We might check in on the game later tonight. We'll see. Hi, baby. My handsome boy, my little gargoyle. That's a good boy. He got his last vaccine today, so he's been very sleepy today. Um, but yeah, all right. I took my pill. All right, Mina Harker's journal, 22nd of September. This is my brother's birthday, by the way. My brother's birthday is September 22nd. In the train to Exeter, Jonathan's sleeping. It seems only yesterday that the last entry was made, and yet how much between then and Whitby and all the world before me, Jonathan away and no news of him. And now, married to Jonathan. Jonathan a solicitor, a partner, rich, master of his business. Mr. Hawkins dead and buried, and Jonathan with another attack that may harm him. Some day he may ask me about it. Down it all goes. I am rusty in my shorthand. See what unexpected prosperity does for us. So it may be well so it may be as well to freshen it up again with exercise and with an exercise anyhow. The service was very simple and very solemn. There were only ourselves and the servants there, one or two old friends of his from Exeter, his London agent, and a gentleman representing Sir John Paxton, the president of the Incorporated Law Society. Jonathan and I stood hand in hand, and we felt that our best and dearest friend was gone from us. We came back to town quietly, taking a bus to Hyde Park Corner. Jonathan thought it would interest me to go into the row for a while, so we sat down. But there were very few people there, and it was sad looking and desolate to see so many empty chairs. It made us think of that empty chair at home, so we got up and walked down Piccadilly. Jonathan was holding me by the arm, the way he used to in old days before I went to school. I felt it very improper, for you can't go on for some years teaching etiquette and decorum to other girls without the pedantry of it biting into yourself a bit. But it was Jonathan, and he was my husband, and we didn't know anybody who saw us, and we didn't care if they did. So on we walked. I love that it's like improper for like a woman and husband to like hold hands. What the hell? What? Holding to hold by the arm? Like what do you mean? You're married. Okay, birthday is next month, and her mom is my baby sister's is this month. Yes, I know. I know Darling's birthday is. I know it's before my brother's. My brother's is the 22nd, and then Darling's is either the 15th or the 17th. I always forget whether it's 5 or 7 days separating them. I think it's 5. But look, here's the picture. So I'm like, wait a second. Is our Dracula back? We're about to get to Dracula? Alright. I was looking at a very beautiful girl in a big cartwheel hat sitting in a Victoria outside Guiano's when I felt Jonathan clutch my arm so tight that he hurt me, and he said under my breath, and he said under his breath, "My God, I am always anxious about Jonathan, for I fear that some nervous fit may upset him again." So I turned to him quickly and asked him what it was that disturbed him. He was very pale, and his eyes seemed bulging out as half in terror and half in amazement. He gazed at a tall, thin man with a beaky nose and black mustache and pointed beard, who was also observing the pretty girl. He was looking at her so hard that he did not see either of us, and so I had a good view of him. His face was not a good face. It was hard and cruel and sensual, and his big white teeth, that looked all the whiter because his lips were so red, were pointed like an animal's. Jonathan kept staring at him till I was afraid he would notice. I feared he might take it ill, he looked so fierce and nasty. I asked Jonathan why he was disturbed, and he answered, evidently thinking that I knew as much about it as he did. "Do you see who it is?" "No, dear," I said. "I don't know him. Who is it?" His answer seemed to shock and thrill me, for it was said as if he did not know that it was to me, Mina, to whom he was speaking. "It is the man himself." The poor dear was evidently terrified at something, very greatly terrified. I do believe that if he had not had me to lean on, and to support him, he would have sunk down. He kept staring. A man came out of the shop with a small parcel and gave it to the lady, who then drove off. The dark man kept his eyes fixed on her, and when the carriage moved up Piccadilly, he followed in the same direction and hailed a hansom. Jonathan kept looking after him and said as if to himself, "I believe it is the Count, but he has grown young. My God, if this be so. Oh, my God, if I only knew, if I only knew." He was distressing himself so much that I feared to keep his mind on the subject by asking him many questions, so I remained silent. I drew him away quietly, and he, holding my arm, came easily. We walked a little further, and then went in and sat for a while in the Green Park. It was a hot day for autumn, and there was a comforting seat in a shady place. After a few minutes staring at nothing, Jonathan's eyes closed, and he went quietly into a sleep with his head on my shoulder. I thought it was the best thing for him, so did not disturb him. In about 20 minutes he woke up and said to me quite cheerfully, "Why, Mina, have I been asleep? Oh, do forgive me for being so rude. Come and we'll have a cup of tea somewhere." He had evidently forgotten all about the dark stranger, as in his illness he had forgotten all that this episode had reminded him of. I don't like this lapsing into forgetfulness. It may make or continue some injury to his brain. I must not ask him, for I fear I shall do more harm than good. But I must somehow learn the facts of his journey abroad. The time has come, I fear, when I must open the parcel and know what is written. Oh, Jonathan, you will, I know, forgive me if I do wrong, but it is for your own dear sake. Later, a sad homecoming in every way. The house empty of the dear soul who was so good to us. Jonathan, still pale and dizzy under a slight relapse of his malady, and now a telegram from Van Helsing, whoever he may be. You will be grieved to hear that Mrs. Westenra died 5 days ago, and that Lucy died the day before yesterday. They were both buried today. Oh, what a wealth of sorrow in a few words. Poor Mrs. Westenra. Poor Lucy. Gone, gone, never to return to us. And poor, poor Arthur to have lost such sweetness out of his life. God help us all to bear our troubles. Jesus. Hold on, what? Kay is the 17th and her mom is the 20th. My big sister Nana was the 10th of September. Did you ever meet her? No. I don't think so. Okay, I thought she did. She met yeah, I met you, Mama Dyer, and obviously Darling's mom, but not Nana, I don't think. Oops. My birthday's until next year in January. And my brother's the 17th. You didn't? I didn't what? Oops. I sorry. Um, but yeah, so then your birthday's around Troubles and Kai's, I think. Oh, my baby's asleep. All right. Dr. Seward's diary, 22nd of September. It is all over. Arthur has gone back to Ring and has taken Quincy Morris with him. What a fine fellow is Quincy. I believe in my heart of hearts that he suffered as much about Lucy's death as any of us, but he bore himself through it like a moral Viking. Like a moral Viking. If America can go on breeding men like that, she will be a power in the world indeed. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot Quincy was the American. That was like charming. That was pretty funny. I remember also she would have given you lots of baking recipes. Ooh, is it possible? I'll ask this question later. I I would love the baking recipes that like I would like to make that what is it, the jello that Mama Dyer makes that you like so much. I would like to learn how to make that. Okay, lots of recipes that I still have some written down in a special folder. Ooh, that's nice. Like honestly, I want to learn some of my own family's recipes too. Like I there was something my dad was saying the other my mom was saying the other day that she said one of our relatives used to make the most amazing like um what do they call it? A bread pudding, budin. She used to make the most amazing one and I'm like, I want the recipe. And I would like I like bread pudding. Well, I like the pineapple one. Oh, Shadow's falling asleep over there.
How's the baby? Oh, there he is.
He's sleepy.
Okay. You look nice with your black outfit.
Yeah. Uh yeah. Mom likes my dress. Uh Van Helsing is lying down, having a rest preparatory to his journey. He goes over to Amsterdam tonight, but says he returns tomorrow night. That he only wants to make some arrangements which can only be made personally. He is to stop with me then, if he can. He says he has work to do in London, which may take him some time. Poor old fellow. I fear that the strain of the past week has broken down even his iron strength. All the time of the burial he was, I could see, putting some terrible restraint on himself. When it was all over, we were standing beside Arthur, who, poor fellow, was speaking of his part in the operation where his bloods had been transfused to his Lucy's veins. I could see Van Helsing's face grow white and purple by turns. Arthur was saying that he felt since then as if they two had been really married, and that she was his wife in the sight of God. None of us said a word of the other operations, and none of us ever shall. Arthur and Quincy went away together to the station, and Van Helsing and I came on here. The moment we were alone in the carriage, he gave way to a regular fit of hysterics. He has denied to me since that it was hysterics and insisted that it was only his sense of humor asserting itself under very terrible conditions. He laughed till he cried, and I had to draw down the blinds lest anyone should see us and misjudge. And then he cried till he laughed again, and laughed and cried together, just as a woman does. I tried to be stern with him as one is to a woman under the circumstances, but it had no effect. Men and women are so different in manifestations of nervous strength or weakness. Then, when his face grew grave and stern again, I asked him why his mirth, and why at such a time. His reply was in a way characteristic of him, for it was logical and forceful and mysterious. He said, "Ah, you don't comprehend, friend John. Do not think that I am not sad, though I laugh. See, I have cried even when the laugh did choke me. But no more think that I am all sorry when I cry, for the laugh he come just the same. Keep it always with you that laughter who knock at your door and say, 'May I come in?' is not the true laughter. No, he is a king, and he come when and how he no, he is a king, and he come when and how he like. He ask no person, he choose no time of suitability. He say, 'I am here.' Behold, an example. I grieve my heart out for that so sweet young girl. I give my blood for her, though I am old and worn. I give my time, my skill, my sleep. I let my other sufferers want that so she may have all. And yet I can laugh at her very grave. Laugh when the clay from the spade of the sexton dropped upon her coffin and say thud, thud to my heart, till it send back the blood from my cheek. My heart bleed for that poor boy, that dear boy, so of the age of mine own boy had I been so blessed that he live, and with his hair and eyes the same. There, you know now why I love him so. And yet, when he say things that touch my husband heart to the quick, hold on, I'm reading that again. And yet, when he say things that touch my husband heart to the quick, and make my father heart yearn to him as to no other man, not even to you, friend John, for we are more level in experience than father and son. Yet even at such moment, hold on. Yet even at such moment, King laugh, he come to me and shout and bellow in my ear, here I am, till the blood came dance, till the blood come dance back and bring some of the sunshine that he carried with him to my cheek. Oh, friend John, it is a strange world, a sad world, a world full of miseries and woes and troubles, and yet when King Laugh come, he make them all dance to the tune he play. Bleeding hearts and dry bones of the churchyard, and tears that burn as they fall, all dance together to the music that he make with that smileless mouth of him. And believe me, friend John, that he is good to come and kind. Ah, we men and women are like ropes drawn tight with a strain that pull us different ways. Then tears come, and like the rain on the ropes, they brace us up, until perhaps the strain become too great and we break. But King Laugh, he come like the sunshine, and he ease off the strain again, and we bear to go on with our labor, what it may be. Please tell me y'all heard that as a little gay, because I did. I couldn't help it. All right, I'll be right back. My brother has called me away. We're doing our night ritual. So I will be back in like hopefully like 3 minutes, 5 minutes. I will try to be quick. All right. But yes, I will be back. Also, I didn't. Yeah, I'll be right back, guys. Oh, perfect. The ads are gonna go too. Yeah, I'll be back. I apologize for that. I'm back. Thank you, Teddy Bear, for doing that. For putting the break. I was gonna say that sounds witchy. What sounded witchy? The the part that I was like, it sounds kind of gay, That- or something else. All right. I did not like to wound him by pretending not to see his idea, but as I did not yet understand the cause of his laughter, I asked him. As he answered me, his face grew stern, and he said in quite a different tone, "Oh, it was the grim irony of it all. This is so lovely Lady Garland with flowers that looks so fair as life, till one by one we wondered if she were truly dead. She lay in that so fine marble house in that lonely churchyard, where rest so many of her kin, laid there with the mother who loved her, and whom she loved, and that sacred bell going toll, 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 so sad and slow, and those holy men with their white garments of the angel, pretending to read books, and yet all the time their eyes never on the page, and all of us with the bowed head. And all for what? She is dead. So, is it not?" "Well, for the life of me, Professor," I said, "I can't see anything to laugh at in all that. Why, your explanation makes it a harder puzzle than before. But even if the burial service was a comic, what about the poor Art and his trouble? Why, his heart was simply breaking." "Just so, said he not that the transfusion of his blood to her veins had made her truly his bride?" "Yes, and it was a sweet and comforting idea for him." "Quite, but there was a difficulty, friend John. If so, that Quite so, but there was a difficulty, friend John, if so that. Then what about the others? Then this so sweet maid is a polyandrist, and me without my poor wife dead to me, but alive by church's law. Though no wits, all gone, even I, who am faithful husband to this now no wife, am bigamist. I don't see where the joke comes in there either, I said, and I did not feel particularly pleased with him for saying such things. He laid his hand on my arm and said, "Friend John, forgive me if I pain. I showed not my feeling to others when it would wound, but only to you, my old friend, whom I can trust. If you could have looked into my very heart then when I want to laugh, if you could have done so when the laugh arrived, if you could do so now when King Laugh have packed up his crown and all that is to him, and all that is to him, for he go far, far away from me, and for a long, long time, maybe you would perhaps pity me the most of all." I was touched by the tenderness of his tone and asked why. "Because I know. And now we are all scattered, and for many a long day loneliness will sit over our roofs with brooding wings. Lucy lies in the tomb of her kin, a lordly death house in a lonely churchyard, away from teeming London, where the air is fresh and the sun rises over Hampstead Hill, and where wild flowers grow of their own accord. So I can finish this diary, and God only knows if I shall ever begin another. If I do, or if I even open this again, it will be to deal with different people and different themes. For here, at the end, where the romance of my life is told, here I go back to take up the threads of my life work. I sat. If I do, or if I even open this again, it will be to deal with different people and different themes. For here at the end, where the romance of my life is told, here I go back to take up the thread of my life work. I say sadly and without hope, finis, finis. I kind of, I kind of think it's interesting how there's this idea of like sharing blood and the brides, because that's also with Dracula with his brides as well. Remember, and the professor making light of the polyandrist or polyamory, right? Which because Dracula's brides, right? I don't remember if they were called the brides before when they were in by Jonathan or Dracula in his in his castle. But we all know that they're called that, right? Like Dracula's brides. But now I'm like, is that really canon? Sorry. All right. Now there's the Westminster Gazette, 25th of September, a Hampstead mystery. The neighborhood of Hampstead is just at present exercised with a series of events which seem to run on lines parallel to those of what was known to the writers of headlines as the Kensington Horror, or the Stabbing Woman, or the Woman in Black. During the past 2 or 3 days, several cases have occurred to young children straying from home or neglecting to return from their playing on the hearth. In all these cases, the children were too young to give any properly intelligible account of themselves, but the consensus of their excuses is that they had been with a bloofer lady. Bloofer lady. Oh my god, I got chills. If any of y'all have seen the Netflix's new uh the Netflix's newest Dracula, you'll know why Bloofer lady fucking gives me the chills. Bloofer lady. It has always been late in the evening when they have been missed, and on 2 occasions the children have not been found until early in the following morning. It is generally supposed in the neighborhood that at first the child missed gave as his reason for being away that a bloofer lady had asked him to come for a walk. The others had picked up the praise and used it as occasion served. This is the more natural, as the favorite game of the little ones at present is luring each other away by wiles. A correspondent writes us that to see A correspondent writes us that to see some of the tiny tots pretending to be the bloofer lady is supremely funny. Uh-oh. That's kind of terrifying. Some of our some of our caricaturists might, he says, take a lesson in the irony of grotesque by comparing the reality and the picture. It is only in accordance with general principles of human nature that the bloofer lady should be the popular role at these alfresco performances. Our correspondent naively says that even Ellen Terry could not be so winningly attractive as some of these grubby-faced little children pretend, and even imagine themselves to be. There is, however, possibly a serious side to the question, for some of the children, indeed all who have been missed at night, have been slightly torn or wounded in the throat. The wounds seem such as might be made by a rat or a small dog, and although of not much importance individually, would tend to show that whatever animal inflicts them has a system or method of its own. The police of division have been instructed to keep a sharp lookout for straying children, especially when very young, in and around Hampstead Heath, for any stray dog which may be about. I just remembered I have a dentist appointment tomorrow morning. I'm gonna have to head out. My night is ruined. I'm so sorry, Carl. I mean, at least this you maybe you'll be able to listen to this another time or during your appointment. I'm so sorry. Hopefully the dentist appointment is just like a cleaning or something and not something serious. Good luck. Good luck, Carl. Get some sleep. I don't want you to wake up too late. I'm so sorry for keeping you awake. All right. It is a cleaning. Okay, that's good. Then it should be relax. It shouldn't be too bad. Get some sleep, Carl. Thanks for keeping us company. I appreciate it. I love having you here to react to things. It's great. Oh my god. Good night. Sweet dreams. Don't let the monsters bite. Unless they're attractive and they ask for consent. Although maybe I shouldn't be saying this when we're reading Dracula. Oops. That's like a joke I always say, but I'm like, maybe not appropriate with Dracula. You know what? Don't let them bite. Oh, darling, you remember that. I love that old joke. I haven't told it in a hot minute. The Westminster Gazette at the Westminster Gazette, 25th of September. Extra special. The Hampstead Horror. Another child injured. The Bloofer Lady. We have just received intelligence that another child, missed last night, was only discovered late in the morning under a furze bush at the Shooter's Hill side of Hampstead's Heath, which is perhaps less frequent than the other parts. It has the same tiny wound in the throat as has been noticed in other cases. It was terribly weak and looked quite emaciated. It, too, when partially restored, had the common story to tell of being lured away by the Bloofer Lady. Darling, do you remember the Bloofer Lady thing? This shit is like, I'm getting chills. OMG, absolutely appropriate. Eli's like, it's perfect for this. Alright. Chapter 14. Mina Harker's journal. But so those last things were newspaper clippings. Chapter 14. Look at how pretty it is. You remember the blue for lady? I was just like, oh my god. I also have a suspicion of who they're talking about with the blue for lady. Um, oh, my purse is behind me, isn't it? It is. I'm running out of water. You know what? I'll be right back because I have to. One, I gotta refill this before everyone's asleep, and then two, um, I'm gonna grab my purse back there because I want to get my chopstick out of it. So I will be right back. I'm so sorry, Starlings. I like walked in and then remembered I have to close my door because Dad's already gonna sleep. There it is. It says Eli, you don't have an ultra ball or yeah. Oh my god, you're gonna lose the metatite. All right, all right, we're back in business. Sorry about that. All right. Chapter 14. Mina Harker's journal. 23rd of September. Jonathan is better after a bad night. I am so glad that he has plenty of work to do, for that keeps his mind off the terrible things. And oh, I am rejoiced that he is not now weighed down with the responsibility of his new position. I knew he would be true to himself, and now how proud I am to see my Jonathan rising to the height of his advancement, and keeping pace in all ways with the duties that come upon him. He will be away all day till late, for he said he could not lunch at home. My housework is done, so I shall take his foreign journal and lock myself up in my room and read it. 24th of September. I hadn't the heart to write last night. The terrible record of Jonathan's upset me so. The terrible That terrible record of Jonathan's upset me so. Poor dear, how he must have suffered, whether it be true or only imagination. I wonder if there is any truth in it at all. Did he get his brain fever and then write all those terrible things, or had he some cause for it all? I suppose I shall never know, for I dare not open the subject to him. And yet that man we saw yesterday! He seemed quite certain of him. Poor fellow! I suppose it was the funeral upset him and sent his mind back on some train of thought. He believes it all himself. I remember how on our wedding day he said, "Unless some solemn duty come upon me to go back to the bitter hours, asleep or awake, mad or sane." There seems to be through it all some thread of continuity. That fearful count was coming to London. If it should be, and he came to London with his teeming millions, there may be a solemn duty, and if it come, we must not shrink from it. I shall be prepared. I shall get my typewriter this very hour and begin transcribing. Then we shall be ready for other eyes if required, and if it be wanted, then perhaps, if I am ready, poor Jonathan may not be upset, for I can speak for him and never let him be troubled or worried with it at all. If ever Jonathan quite gets over the nervousness, he may want to tell me of it all, and I can ask him questions and find out things and see how I may comfort him. Letter Van Helsing to Mrs. Harker, 24th September. Confidence. Dear Madam, I pray you to pardon my writing in that I am so far friend as that I sent to you sad news of Miss Lucy Westenra's death. By the kindness of Lord Godalming, I am empowered to read her letters and papers, for I am deeply concerned about certain matters vitally important. In them I find some letters from you, which show how great friends you were and how you love her. Oh, Madam Mina, by that love I implore you, help me. It is for others' good that I ask, to redress great wrong, and to lift much and terrible troubles, that may be more great than you can know. May it be that I see you? You can trust me. I am friend of Dr. John Seward and of Lord Godalming. That was Arthur of Miss Lucy. I must keep it private for the present from all. I should come to Exeter to see you at once if you tell me I am privileged to come. If I am privileged to come. That's what my sub asked me. Sorry. I couldn't help it. All right. All right. Y'all can hit up that dirty counter again. Where and when? I implore your pardon, madam. I have read your letters to poor Lucy, and know how good you are, and how your husband suffer. So I pray you, if it may be, enlighten him, not lest it harm. Not. Let me read that again. Hold up. So I pray you, if it may be, enlighten him not, lest it may harm. Again your pardon and forgive me. Van Helsing. Telegram, Mrs. Harker to Van Helsing. 25th September. Come today by 10:15 train if you can catch it. Can see you any time you call. Wilhelmina Parker. Harker. Darling got it faster. Mina Harker's journal. 25th of September. I cannot help Jesus. I cannot help feeling terribly excited as the time draws near for the visit of Dr. Van Helsing, for somehow I expect that it will throw some light upon Jonathan's sad experience, and as he attended poor dear Lucy in her last illness, he can tell me all about her. That is the reason of his coming. It is concerning Lucy and her sleepwalking and not about Jonathan. Then I shall never know the real truth now. How silly I am. That awful journal gets hold of my imagination and tinges everything with something of its own color. Of course, it is about Lucy. That habit came back to the poor dear, and that awful night on that cliff must have made her ill. I had almost forgotten in my own affairs how ill she was afterward. She must have told him of her sleepwalking adventure on the cliff, and that I knew all about it. And now he wants me to tell him what she knows, so that he may understand. I hope I did right in not saying anything of it to Mrs. Westenra. I should never forgive myself if any act of mine, were it even a negative one, brought harm on poor dear Lucy. I hope, too, Dr. Van Helsing will not blame me. I have had so much trouble and anxiety of late that I feel I cannot bear more just at present. I suppose a cry does us all good at times, clears the air as other rain does. Perhaps it was reading the journal yesterday that upset me, and then Jonathan went away this morning to stay away from me a whole day, and not, and then Jonathan went away this morning to stay away from me a whole day and night. The first time we have been parted since our marriage. I do hope that dear fellow will take care of himself and that nothing will occur to upset him. It is 2 o'clock, and the doctor will be here soon now. I shall say nothing of Jonathan's journal unless he asks me. I am so glad I've typewritten out my own journal so that in case he asks about Lucy, I can hand it to him. It will save much questioning. Later. He has come and gone. Oh, what a strange meeting, and how it all makes my head whirl around. I feel like one in a dream. Can it be all possible, or even part of it? If I had not read Jonathan's journal first, I should never have accepted even a possibility. Poor, poor dear Jonathan. How he must have suffered. Please, the God, please, the good God, all this may not upset him again. I shall try to save him from it, but it may be even a consolation and a help to him, terrible though it be, and awful in its consequences. To know for certain that his eyes and ears and brain did not deceive him, and that it is all true. It may be that it is the doubt which taunts him, that when the doubt is removed, no matter which, waking or dreaming, may prove the truth, and he will be more satisfied and better able to to bear the shock. Dr. Van Helsing must be a good man as well as a clever one if he is Arthur's friend and Dr. Seward's, and if they brought him all the way from Holland to look after Lucy. I feel from having seen him that he is good and kind and of a noble nature. When he comes tomorrow, I shall ask him about Jonathan, and then, please God, all this sorrow and anxiety may lead to a good end. I used to think I would like to practice interviewing Jonathan's friend on the Exeter's News. Told him that I used to think I would like to practice interviewing. Jonathan's friend on the Exeter News told him that memory was everything in such work, that you must be able to put down exactly almost every word, almost ev- that you must be able to put down exactly almost every word spoken, even if you had to refine some of it afterward. Here was a rare interview. I shall try to record it verbatim. It was 2:30 when the knock came. I took my courage, I took my courage à deux mains and waited. In a few minutes, Mary opened the door and announced Dr. Van Helsing. Yes, my dear. Sorry, my baby's trilling at me. Yes, baby? What do you need, baby? What do you need, my handsome boy? Oh my god, he really blends with this dress. Hey, baby, what's wrong? What happened? Freya doesn't want to play with you no more? Ooh, stay away from this candle, my boy. Oh, don't drop my water. Do you just want to get up here again? Here, I'll fix it. I'll fix it so the my shirt is laying on it properly again. There you go. There. Are you gonna get back up there? You're what? Oh, the baby. Never mind. What did you think I said? Hold up. What you think I said? My child. Relax. Are you gonna settle down for the story? Things are getting good. Okay. I took my courage à deux mains and waited. In a few minutes, Mary opened the door and announced Dr. Van Helsing. I rose and bowed, and he came toward me, a man of. Jesus Christ. There's a candle here. I'm scared he's gonna get to it. What? Alright then. It's a lavender candle. It smells good. What did you think I said, Eli? I rose and bowed, and he came toward me, a man of medium weight, strongly built, with his shoulders set back over a broad, deep chest and a neck well balanced on the trunk as the head is on the neck. The poise of the head strikes one at once as indicative of thought and power. The head is noble, well sized, broad and large behind the ears. The face, clean shaven, shows a hard, square chin, a large, resolute, mobile mouth, a good sized nose, rather straight, but with quick, sensitive nostrils that seem to broaden as the big, bushy brows come down and the mouth tightens. The forehead is broad and fine, rising at first almost straight, and then sloping back above two bumps or ridges wide apart. Such a forehead that the reddish hair cannot possibly tumble over it, but naturally falls back into the sides. Big, dark blue eyes are set widely apart and are quick and tender or stern with the man's moods. He said to me, Mrs. Harker, is it not? I bowed assent. That was Miss Mina Murray? Again I assented. It is Miss Mina it is Mina Murray that I came to see, that was a friend of that poor dear child Lucy Westenra. Madam Mina, it is on account of the dead I come. Sir, I said, you could have no better claim on me than that you were a friend and helper of Lucy Westenra, and I held out my hand. He took it and said tenderly, Oh, Madam Mina, I know that the friend of that poor Lily girl must be good, but I had yet to learn. He finished his speech with a courtly bow. This is what he's looked like this entire time. I was picturing a much older man. What are you talking about? He still has red hair? What do you mean? Excuse me? Oh my goodness. I was picturing a much older man when he was always calling himself old and his friend was calling him old. They tricked me. You know what? I forget that old to them means like 50 or something, you know? I mean, this guy looks like 40 something. I mean, he looks like, yeah, he looks like he could be 35 to like 40-ish. Oh my god, baby. What are you doing? What? You want my shoulder? Okay. What? He wanted my shoulder to launch himself to the bed. What the hell, baby? Yes, my child. Have you decided where you're gonna rest for now? Are you resting on the bed? Are you resting on me? What is happening? I still don't know what Eli meant by "you're what," and then he said, "Oh, the baby." Like, what did I say? Jesus Christ! There's a bug right on my screen. Hold on. Wait, Shadow, you don't want to come kill this bug for me? Fuck. The bug moved when I looked away. Well, damn it. All right. At least it's not on my screen anymore. Christ. Um, but I'm like, this guy doesn't look that old. Okay. Anyways, uh, I asked him what it was that he wanted to see me about, so he at once began. I have read your letters to Miss Lucy. Forgive me, but I had to begin to inquire somewhere, and there was none to ask. I know that you were with her at Whitby. She sometimes kept a diary. You need not look surprised, Madamina. It was begun after you had left, and was in imitation of you. And in that diary she traces by inference certain things to a sleepwalking in which she puts down that you saved her. In great perplexity, then I come to you and ask you out of your so much kindness to tell me all of it that you can remember. I can tell you, I think, Dr. Van Helsing, all about it. Ah, then you have a good memory for facts, for details? It is not always so with young ladies. All right, that's a little sexist. No, doctor, but I wrote it all down at the time. I can show it to you if you like. Oh, Madam Mina, I will be grateful. You will do me much favor. I could not resist the temptation of mystifying him a bit. I suppose it is of I suppose it is some of the taste of the original apple that remains still in our mouths. So I handed him the shorthand diary. I love that. I love that sentence. I could not resist the temptation of mystifying him a bit. I suppose it is some of the taste of the original apple that remains still in our mouths. I love that. The reference that to Eve. Holy shit, that's there's a Wimpod in chat. He took it with a grateful bow and said, "May I read it?" "If you wish," I answered as demurely as I could. He opened it, and for an instant his face fell. Then he stood up and bowed. "Oh, you so clever woman," he said. "I knew long that Mr. Jonathan was a man of much thankfulness, but see, his wife have all the good things. Oh, will you not so much honor me and so help me as to read it for me? Alas, I know not the shorthand." By this time my little joke was over, and I was almost ashamed. So I took the typewritten copy from my work basket and handed it to him. "Forgive me," I said. "I could not help it, but I had been thinking that it was of dear Lucy that you wished to ask, and so that you might not have time to wait, not on my account, but because I know your time must be precious. I have written it out on the typewriter for you." He took it and his eyes glistened. "You are good. You are so good," he said. "And may I read it now? I may want to ask you some things when I have read." "By all means," I said. "Read it over whilst I order lunch, and then you can ask me questions whilst we eat." He bowed and settled himself in a chair with his back to the light and became absorbed in the papers. Whilst I went to see after the lunch chiefly in order Whilst I went to see after the lunch chiefly in order that he might not be disturbed. When I came back, I found him walking hurriedly up and down the room, his face all ablaze with excitement. He rushed up to me and took me by both hands. "Oh, Madam Mina," he said, "how can I say what I owe to you? This paper is a sunshine. It opens the gate to me. I am I am dazzled with so much light, and yet clouds roll in behind the light every time, but that you cannot comprehend. Oh, but I am grateful to you. You so clever woman. Madam," he said, Madam, he said this very solemnly, if ever Abraham Van Helsing can do anything for you or yours, I trust you will let me know. It will be pleasure and delight if I may serve you as a friend. As a friend, but all I have ever learned, all I can ever do, shall be for you and those you love. There are darkness there are darkness in life and there are lights. You are one of the lights. You will have happy life and good life, and your husband will be blessed in you. And your husband will be blessed in you. But doctor, you praise me too much and you do not know me. Not know you, I who am old and who have studied all my life men and women, I who have made my specialty the brain and all that belongs to him and all that follow from him. And I have read your diary that you have so goodly written for me, and which breathes out truth in every line. I who have read your so sweet letter to poor Lucy of your marriage, and your trust not know you. Oh, Madam Mina, good women tell all their lives, and by day and by hour and by minute, such things that angels can read. And we men who wish to know have in us something of angels' eyes. Your husband is noble nature, and you are noble too. For you trust and trust cannot be where there is a mean nature. And your husband, tell me of him. And your husband, tell me of him. Is he quite well? Is all that fever gone, and is he strong and hearty? I saw here an opening to ask him about Jonathan, so I said, he was almost recovered, but he has been greatly upset by Mr. Hawkins' death. He interrupted, oh yes, I know, I have read your last two letters. I went on, I suppose this upset for him. I suppose this upset him, for when we were in town on Thursday at last, he had a sort of shock. A shock, and after brain fever so soon. That was not good. What kind of a shock was it? He thought he saw someone who recalled something he thought he saw someone who recalled something terrible, something which led to his brain fever. And here the whole thing seemed to overwhelm me in a rush. The pity for Jonathan, the horror which he experienced, the whole fearful mystery of his diary, and the fear that has been brooding over me ever since, all came in tumult. I suppose I was hysterical, for I threw myself on my knees and held up my hands to him, and implored him to make my husband well again. He took my hands and raised me up, and made me sit on the sofa, and sat by me. He held my hand in his, and said to me with such infinite sweetness, my life is a barren and lonely one, and so full of work that I have not had much time for friendships. But since I have been summoned to here by my friend John Seward, I have known so many good people and seen such nobility that I feel more than ever, and it has grown with my advancing years, the loneliness of my life. Believe me, then, that I come here full of respect for you, and you have given me hope. Hope not in what I am seeking of, but that there are good women still left to make life happy. Good women whose lives and whose truths may make good women whose lives and whose truths may make good lessons for the children that are to be. I am glad that I may here be of some use to you, for if your husband suffer, he suffer within the range of my study and experience. I promise you that I will gladly do all for him that I can, all to make his life strong and manly and your life a happy one. Now you must eat. You are overwrought and perhaps over anxious. Husband Jonathan would not like to see you so pale, and what he not like where he love is not to his good. Therefore, for his sake, you must eat and smile. Yes, my darling. Oh, you're gonna knock my. Yes, my darling. What is it? What is it, handsome? Do you want me to? Do you want to cuddle with me? Come here. No, you just want to. Okay, you just want to take over my keyboard. Got it. Okay, that's okay, baby. Oh, okay. Did you end my stream? Holy shit! Wait. Okay, he just minimized it. Sorry, I panicked. Oh, I can remove this for you. Here, I take it out. Go ahead. Get in your little box. Go ahead, baby. Enjoy your box. Okay. Good boy. I swear to God. Why are you trying to stop me? It's not late. It's only 10:58. It's not midnight yet. Midnight is when I go to sleep, baby. That is in an hour. Okay. Oh my God, baby boy. What are you trying to rip up over there? Baby. Do you just want mama to come for you? Come here. Come here. Oh, why'd you make that sound? Come here, baby. Sit down. Okay. You comfy? If you're comfy, we're gonna continue reading. Okay. Punk ass little. Oh my goodness, baby. Do you just. Oh. Oh, I think he just needs something to play with. Okay. Hold up. I dropped stuff, but. Baby, you need something to play with? Okay. He's looking up at me like, please. Okay. 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 I have a paper ball for you. I. I love you, baby. I have a paper ball for you. Be careful with this one, though, because I saw what happened with the tissue paper. I don't know why you were bleeding, but I'm going to find out. I'm going to figure it out one of these days, okay? You want the paper ball? I knew he was going to launch himself on my shoulder. Shadow, you swat. No, he would never. He does like pats. He doesn't swat. Shadow used charm. He did. He did use charm. Hi, Chaos. I see you're still awake. Naughty. No, I'm kidding. I know why you're awake. All right. Um, You have told me all about Lucy, and so now we shall not speak of it, lest it distressed. I shall stay in Exeter tonight, for I want to think much over what you have told me, and when I have thought, I will ask you questions, if I may. And then, too, you will tell me of husband Jonathan's troubles so far as you can, but not yet. You must eat now. Afterward, you shall tell me all. I killed my sleep cycle today. I'm so sorry, Chaos. Yeah, I mean, that'll happen. After lunch, when we went back to the drawing room, he said to me, "And now tell me all about him." When it came to speaking to this great learned man, I began to fear that he would think me a weak fool and Jonathan a madman. That journal is all so strange, and I hesitated to go on. But he was so sweet and kind, and he had promised to help, and I trusted him, so I said, "Dr. Van Helsing, what I have to tell you is so queer that you must not laugh at me or at my husband. I have been since yesterday in a sort of fever of doubt. You must be kind to me and not think me foolish that I have even half believed some very strange things." He assured me that he assured me by his manner as well as his words when he said, "Oh, my dear, if you only know how strange is the matter regarding which I am here, it is you who would laugh. I have learned not to think little of anyone's beliefs, no matter how strange it be. I have tried to keep an open mind, and it is not the ordinary of things of life that could and it is not the ordinary things of life that could close it, but the strange things, the extraordinary things, the things that make one doubt if they be mad or sane. Thank you. Thank you 1,000 times. You have taken a weight off my mind. If you will let me, I shall give you a paper to read. It is long, but I have typewritten it out. I will tell you my trouble and Jonathan's. It is the copy of his journal when abroad and all that happened. I dare not say anything of it. You will read for yourself and judge. And then, when I see you, perhaps you will be very kind and tell me what you think." "I promise," he said, as I gave him the papers. "I shall in the morning, so soon as I can, come to see you and your husband, if I may. Jonathan will be here at 11:30, and you must come to lunch with us and see him then. You could catch the quick 3:34 train." Oh, the papers are stuck. Hold on. Don't don't rip. Whew. Okay. The 3:34 train, which will leave you at Paddington before 8. He was surprised at my knowledge of the trains offhand, but he does not know that I have made up all the trains to and fro that I have made up all the trains to and from Exeter, so that I may help Jonathan in case he is in a hurry. So he took the papers with him and went away, and I sit here thinking I don't know what. Letter by hand, Van Helsing to Mrs. Harker, 25th of September, 6 o'clock. Dear Madam Mina, I have read your husband's so wonderful diary. You may sleep without doubt. Strange and terrible as it is true. I will pledge my life on it. It may be worse for others, but for him and you there is no dread. He is a noble fellow, and let me tell you from experience of men, that one who would do as he did is going down that wall and to that room, ay, and going a second time, is not one to be injured in permanence by a shock. His brain and his heart are all right. His brain and his heart are all right. This I swear, before I have even seen him, so be at rest. I shall have much to ask him of other things. I am blessed that today I come to see you, for I have learned all at once so much that again I am dazzle more than ever, and I must think. Yours the most faithful, Abraham Van Helsing. Letter, Miss Harker to Van Helsing, 25th September, 6:30 p.m. My dear Dr. Van Helsing, a thousand thanks for your kind letter, which has taken a great weight off my mind, and yet, if it be true, what terrible things there are in the world, and what an awful thing if that man, that monster, be really in London. I fear to think, I have this moment, whilst writing, had a wire from Jonathan, saying that he leaves by the 6:25 tonight from Launceston, and I will be here at 10:18, so that I shall have no fear tonight. Will you, therefore, instead of lunching with us, please come to breakfast at 8 o'clock? If this be not too early for you, you can get away if you are in a hurry by the 10:30 train, which will bring you to Paddington by 2:35. Do not answer this, as I shall take it that, if I do not hear, you will come to breakfast. Believe me, your faithful and grateful friend, Mrs. Harker. Oh, it does say Mina Harker. Okay. Watching Shadow on the bed, gonna attempt to sleep. Okay, chaos. Try to get some sleep. Sweet dreams. Yeah, I know Shadow was losing his mind behind me. Okay. Last I heard, I thought he was under my chair, but I think he went out. Sometimes it's hard to tell when I'm reading, like which way he went, because I have my head down. Whew. Okay. Jonathan Harker's Journal, 26th of September. I thought never to write in this diary again, but the time has come. When I got home last night, Mina had supper ready, and when we had supped, she told me of Van Helsing's visit, and of her having given him the two diaries copied out, and of how anxious she has been about me. She showed me in the doctor's letter that all I wrote down was true. It seems to have made a new man of me. It was the doubt as to the reality of the whole thing that knocked me over. I felt impotent and in the dark and distrustful. But now that I know, I am not afraid, even of the Count. He has succeeded, after all, then, in his design in getting to London, and it was he I saw. He has got younger, and how? Van Helsing is the man to unmask him and hunt him out, if he is anything like what Mina says. We sat late and talked it all over. Mina is dressing, and I shall call at the hotel in a few minutes and bring him over. He was, I think, surprised to see me. When I came into the room where he was and introduced him, and he was, I think, surprised to see me. When I came into the room where he was and introduced myself, he took me by the shoulder and turned my face around to the light and said after a sharp scrutiny, "But Madam Mina told me you were ill, that you had had a shock." It was so funny to hear my wife called Madam Mina by this kindly, strong-faced old man. I smiled and said, "I was ill. I have had a shock, but you have cured me already." "And how?" "By your letter to Mina last night." I was in doubt, and then everything took a hue of unreality, and I did not know what to trust, even the evidence of my own senses. Not knowing what to trust, I did not know what to do, and so had only to keep on working in what had hitherto been the groove of my life. The groove ceased to avail me, and I mistrusted myself. Doctor, you don't know what it is to doubt everything, even yourself. No, you don't. You couldn't with eyebrows like yours. With eyebrows like yours? That's so rude. So fucking rude. I would be like, how dare you? He seemed pleased and laughed at as he said, "So, you are you're physiognomist. You are physiognomist. I learn more here with each hour. I am with so much pleasure coming to you to breakfast. And oh, sir, you will pardon praise from an old man, but you are blessed in your wife. But you are blessed in your wife." I would listen to him go on praising Mina for a day, so I simply nodded and stood silent. "She is one of God's women, fashioned by his own hand to show us men and other women that there is a heaven where we can enter, and that its light can be here on earth. So true, so sweet, so noble, so little an egoist, and that, let me tell you, is much in this age, so skeptical and selfish. And you, sir, I have read all the letters to poor Miss Lucy, and some of them speak of you, so I know you since some days from the knowing of the others. But I have seen your true self since last night. You'll give me your hand, will you not? And let us be friends for all our lives." He asked for his hand. I couldn't help it. "Thanks for the lurk, Buddha." Aw, thank you. I appreciate it. We shook hands, and he was so earnest and so kind that it made me quite choky. And now, he said, may I ask you for some more help? I have a great task to do, and at the beginning it is to know. You can help me here. Can you tell me what went before your going to Transylvania? Later on I may ask more help and of a different kind, but at first this will do. Look here, sir, I said. Does what you have to do concern the Count? It does, he said solemnly. Then I am with you heart and soul. As you go by the 10:30 train, you will not have time to read them, but I shall get the bundle of papers. You can take them with you and read them in the train. After breakfast, I saw him to the station. When we were parting, he said, perhaps you will come to town if I send to you and take Madam Mina too. We shall both come when you will, I said. I had We shall both come when you will. I couldn't help it. Oh my gosh, baby, come here. Do you want to climb on me? What's going on? What's happening, baby? Why do you keep interrupting? It's not like it's midnight yet. Look, it just turned it's 11:10, baby. 50 more minutes at least. Also, let me read what Buddha's shout out says. Blind Buddha is all about those chill vibes and 100% completion runs. From Immortals of Avium to Split Gay AR, they're tackling their backlog one game at a time. With a bearded gamer aesthetic and RGB setup, this LGBTQ plus friendly stream is perfect for anyone looking to unwind and watch some achievement hunting. That's true. Buddha, you're like my brother who's also a completionist when it comes to games. Baby, come here. You want mama's cuddles? Is that what you want? Okay. Okay, you can have my cuddles. You can have the cuddles, baby. Oh, look at my baby. Oh my god, he blends in with this dress. Oh, my sleepy boy. Oh, what's going on? You can't find somewhere comfy? Okay, if you lay here. Come here. Lay on my mat. Yes. Lay there and put your head like on me somewhere, okay? You know how I mean, right? Come here. Like lay this way. Lay facing the You don't want to lay facing the camera? Come on. Sit down. Get your comfy. He's purring at me. I know you guys can't hear it, but I can feel it. Sit down. Sit your bottom down. Baby boy. I can move things here. I can move this as well, the candle. I can move the candle out of the way. Come here. Oh, my baby. My sweet boy. Where are you trying to go? Find somewhere comfy to sit. Hey, don't drop my wires, baby. No, no, mom needs this one. This one is the mic, okay? Please don't please don't mess with that one. Okay. Listen, baby, I just need room for the microphone and my book on the desk, okay? You can be anywhere else. You can be anywhere else. Come here. Okay, you're pulling my dress down a little bit. Okay. What about if I put it like I can't believe I'm negotiating with him like this. All right. What if you lay down? You can lay your head on my arm, but I still need to be able to get that book, okay? I know you guys couldn't hear it, but he did like a silent meow. Oh, he's purring. Come on then, lay down. Look, I'll put my book here so I can reach it. And then, okay, go on. Go ahead, lay down. Do you need more room? I moved my mouse here. There you go. Lay down. Or do you just want to sit there while I read? You can do that too. I'm still gonna read, baby. Oh, don't drop my book. Okay. Baby, get comfy. Good boy. There you go. Uh, come on, baby. Get comfy. Yeah, go on. Oh, he put his little hand on my face. He put his little face on my hand. Oh, baby. Okay. We both we shall both come when you will, I said. I had got him the morning papers and the London papers of the previous night. While we were talking at the carriage window, waiting for the train to start, he was turning them over. His eye suddenly seemed to catch something in one of them, the Westminster Gazette. I knew it by the color. And he grew quite white. He read something intensely, groaning to himself. Mein Gott, so soon, so soon. I do not think he remembered me at the moment. Just then the whistle blew, and the train moved off. This recalled him to himself, and he leaned out of the window and waved his hand, calling out, "Love to Madam Mina. I shall write so soon as ever I can." Dr. Seward's Diary, 26th of September. Truly, there is no such thing as finality. Not a week since I said fini, and yet here I am starting fresh again, or rather, going on with the same record. Until this afternoon, I had no cause to think of what is done. Renfield had become, to all intents, as sane as he ever was. He was already well ahead with his he was already well ahead with his fly business, and he has just started in the spider line also, so he had not been of any trouble to me. I had a letter from Arthur written on Sunday, and from it I gather that he is bearing up wonderfully well. Quincy Morris is with him, and that is much of a help, for he himself is a bubbling well of good spirits. They shacked up. No, I couldn't help it. I kind of want to turn my fan off. It's getting cold now. I was hot earlier. Now it's cold. Also, ow. Quincy wrote me a line too, and from him I hear that Arthur is beginning to recover something of his old buoyancy. So as to them, all my mind is at rest. As for myself, I was settling down to my work with the enthusiasm which I used to have for it, so that I might fairly have said that the wound which poor Lucy left on me was becoming citr- cicatrized. Everything is, however, now reopened, and what is to be the end of God only knows. I have an idea that Van Helsing thinks he knows too, but he will only let out enough at a time to whet curiosity. He went to Exeter yesterday and stayed there all night. Today he came back and almost bounded into the room at about half past 5 o'clock and thrust last night's Westminster Gazette into my hand. "What do you think of that?" he asked, as he stood back and folded his arms. I looked over the paper, for I really did not know what he meant, but he took it from me and pointed out a paragraph about children being decoyed away at Hampstead. It did not convey much to me until I reached a passage where it described a small puncture wounds on their throats. An idea struck me, and I looked up. "Well," he said, "it is like poor Lucy's. And what do you make of it?" "Simply that there is some cause in common. Whatever it was that injured her has injured them." I did not quite understand his answer. "That is true indirectly, but not directly." All right, there's the ads going. I will be right back because I've been drinking water, so I will be right back. I'm back. Sorry about that. Also, good boy, Shadow. He's now underneath me. Uh, he's in his bed. All right. All right. Where are my lights? Weird. There we go. There's a ninja skin chat. Okay. That is true indirectly, but not directly. How do you mean, Professor? I asked. I was little inclined to take his seriousness lightly, for after all, 4 days of rest and freedom from burning, harrowing anxiety does help to restore one's spirits. But when I saw his face, it sobered me. Never, even in the midst of our despair about poor Lucy, had he looked more stern. Tell me, I said. I can hazard no opinion. I do not know what to think, and I have no data on which to found a conjecture. Do you tell? Do you mean to tell me, friend John, that you have no suspicion as to what poor Lucy died of? Not after all the hints given, not only by events but by me? Of nervous prostration following on great loss or waste of blood, and how the blood lost or water, and how the blood lost or waste. I shook my head. He stepped over and sat down beside me and went on. You are a clever man, friend. You are a clever man, friend John. You reason well, and your wit is bold, but you are too prejudiced. You do not let your eyes see nor your ears hear, and that which is outside your daily life is not of account to you. Do you not think that there are things which you cannot understand, and yet which are that some people see things that others cannot? But there are things old and new which must not be contemplated by men's eyes, because they know, or think they know, some things which other men have told them. Ah, it is the fault of our science that it wants to explain all, and if it explains not, then it says there is nothing to explain. But yet we see around us every day the growth of new beliefs which think themselves new, and which are yet but the old, which pretend to be young, like the fine ladies at the opera. I suppose now you do not believe in corporeal transference? No? Nor in materialization? No? Nor in astral bodies? No? Nor in the reading of thought? No? Nor in hypnotism? Yes, I said. Charcot has proved that pretty well. He smiled as he went on. Then you are satisfied as to it? Yes, and of course then you understand how it act, and can follow the mind of the great Charcot, alas that he is no more, into the very soul of the patient that he influenced. No? Then, friend John, am I to take it that you simply accept fact and are satisfied to let from premise to conclusion to be a blank? No? Then tell me, for I am a student of the brain, how you accept the hypnotism and reject the thought reading. And reject the thought reading. Let me tell you, my friend, that there are things done today in electrical science which would have been deemed unholy by the very men who discovered electricity, who would themselves not so long before have been burned as wizards. There are always mysteries in life. Why was it that Methuselah lived 900 years and old Parr 169, and yet that poor Lucy, with poor man's blood in her poor veins, could not live even one day? For had she lived one more day, we could have saved her. Do you know all the mystery of life and death? Do you know the altogether of comparative anatomy, and can say wherefore the qualities of brutes are in some men and not in others? Can you tell me why, when other spiders die small and soon, that one great spider lived for centuries in the tower of the old Spanish church and grew till on descending he could drink the oil of all the church's lamps? Can you tell me why, in the Pampas, ay, and elsewhere, there are bats that come at night and open the veins of cattle and horses and suck dry their veins? How in some islands of the western seas there are bats which hang on the trees all day, and those who have seen describe as like giant nuts or pods, and then when the sailors sleep on the deck, because that it is hot, flit down on them, and then in the morning are found dead men, white as even Miss Lucy was. Good God, Professor, I said, starting up. Do you mean to tell me that Lucy was bitten by such a bat, and that such a thing is here in London in the 19th century? He waved his hand for silence and went on. Can you tell me why the tortoise lives more long than generations of men? Why the elephant goes on till he have seen dynasties, and why the parrot never die only of bite of cat or dog or other complaint? Can you tell me why men believe in all ages and places that there are some few who live on always if they be permit, and if they be permit, that there are men and women who cannot die? We all know, because science has vouched for the fact, that there have been toads shut up in rocks for thousands of years, shut in one so small hole that only him since the youth of the world. Can you tell me how the Indian fakir can make himself to die, and have been buried, and his grave sealed, and corn sowed on it, and the corn reaped, and be cut and sown, and reaped and cut again, and then men come and take away the unbroken seal, and that there lie the Indian fakir, not dead, but that rise up and walk amongst them as before? Here I interrupted him. I was getting bewildered. He was so crowded on my mind, his list of nature's eccentricities and possible impossibilities, that my imagination was getting fired. That my imagination was getting fired. I had a dim idea that he was teaching me some lesson, as long ago he used to do in his study at Amsterdam, but he used them to tell me the thing, so that I could have the object of thought in mind all the time. But now I was without his help. Yet I wanted to follow him, so I said, Professor, let me be your pet student again. Tell me the thesis so that I may apply your knowledge as you go on. At present, I am going in my mind from point to point as a madman, and not as a sane one follows an idea. I feel like a novice lumbering through a bog in a mist, jumping from one tussock to another in the mere blind effort to move on, without knowing where I am going. That is good limit, she said. Well, I shall tell you. My thesis is this. I want you to believe. To believe what? To believe in things that you cannot. Let me illustrate. I heard once of an American who so defined faith, that faculty which enables us to believe things which we know to be untrue. For one, I follow that man. He meant that we shall have an open mind and not let a little bit of truth check the rush of a big truth, like a small rock does not a railway truck. Like a small rock does a railway truck. We get the small truth first. Good, we keep him, and we value him, but all the same we must not let him think himself all the truth in the universe. Then you want me not to let some previous conviction injure the receptivity of my mind with regard to some strange matter. Do I read your lesson right? Ah, you are my favorite pupil still. It is worth to teach you. Now that you are willing to understand, you have taken the first step to understand. You think then that those small holes in the children's throats were made by the same that made the hole in Miss Lucy? I suppose so. He stood up and said solemnly, Then you are wrong. Oh, would it were so, but alas, no. It is worse, far, far worse. In God's name, Professor Van Helsing, what do you mean? I cried. He threw himself with a despairing gesture into a chair and placed his elbows on the table, covering his face with his hands as he spoke. They were made by Miss Lucy. Damn, that's a mic drop. All right, chapter 15, Dr. Seward's diary. Continued. Also, let's look at the pretty art. Okay. For a while, sheer anger mastered me. It was as if he had during her life struck Lucy on the face. I smote the table hard and rose up as I said to him, Dr. Van Helsing, are you mad? He raised his head and looked at me, and somehow the tenderness of his face calmed me at once. Would I were, he said. Madness were easy to bear compared with truth like this. Oh, my friend, why, think you, did I go so far around? Why take so long to tell you so simple a thing? Was it because I hate you and have hated you all my life? Was it because I wished to give you pain? Was it that I wanted, now so late, revenge for that time when you saved my life and from a fearful death? Ah, no. Forgive me, said I. He went on, My friend, it was because I wished to be gentle in the breaking to you, for I know you have loved that so sweet lady. But even yet, I do not expect you to believe. It is so hard to accept at once any abstract truth, that we may doubt such to be possible when we have always believed the no of it. It is more hard still to accept so sad a concrete truth, and of such a one as Miss Lucy. Tonight I go to prove it. Dare you come with me? This staggered me. A man does not like to prove such a truth. Byron excepted from the category, jealousy. Oh, Byron, like Lord Byron, got it. And prove the very truth and prove the truth he most abhorred. He saw my hesitation and spoke. The logic. Did I skip a page? No. The logic is simple. No madman's logic this time, jumping from tussock to tussock in a misty bog. If it be not true, then proof will be relief. At worst, it will not harm. If it be true, there is the dread. Yet very dread should help my causes, for in it is some need of belief. Come, I tell you what I propose. First, that we go off now and see that child in the hospital. Dr. Vincent of the North Hospital, where the papers say the child is friend of mine, and I think of yours since you were in class at Amsterdam. He will let two scientists see his case. If he will not, let two friends. We shall tell him nothing, but only that we wish to learn, and then? He took a key from his pocket and held it up. And then we spend the night, you and I, in the churchyard where Lucy lies. This is the key that locked the tomb. I had it from that coffin man to give to Arthur. My heart sank within me, for I felt that there was some fearful ordeal before us. I could do nothing, however, so I plucked up what heart I could and said that we had better hasten as the afternoon was passing. We found the child awake. It had had a sleep and taken some food, and altogether was going on well. Dr. Vincent took the bandage from its throat and showed us the punctures. There was no mistaking the similarity to those which had been on Lucy's throat. They were smaller, and the edges looked fresher, that was all. We asked Vincent to what he attributed them, and he replied that it must have been a bite of some animal, perhaps a rat, but for his own part, he was inclined to think that it was one of the bats are so numerous on the northern heights of London. Out of so many harmless ones, he said, there may be some wild specimen from the south or a more south of a more malignant species. Some sailor may have brought one home and it managed to escape, or even from the zoological gardens a young one may have got loose, or one be bred there from a vampire. These things do occur, you know. Only 10 days ago, a wolf got out and was, I believe, traced up in this direction. For a week after, the children were playing nothing but Red Riding Hood on the heath and in every alley in the place until this Blue for Lady scare came along, since when it has been quite a gala time with them. Even this poor little mite, when he woke up today, asked the nurse if he might go away. When she asked him why he wanted to go, he said he wanted to play with the Blue for Lady. I hope, said Van Helsing, that when you are sending the children home, you will caution its parents to keep strict watch over it. These fancies to stray are most dangerous, and if the child were to remain out another night, it will probably be fatal. But in any case, I suppose you will not let it away for some days. Certainly not. Not for a week at least. Longer if the wound is not healed. Our visit to the hospital took more time than we had reckoned on, and the sun had dipped before we came out. When Van Helsing saw how dark it was, he said, there is no hurry. It is more late than I thought. Come, let us seek somewhere that we may eat, and then we shall go on our way. We dine at Jack Straw's castle, along with a little crowd of bicyclists and others who were genially noisy. About 10 o'clock we started from the inn. It was then very dark, and the scattered lamps made the darkness greater when we were once outside their individual radius. The professor had evidently noted the road we were to go, for he went on unhesitatingly. But as for me, I was in quite a mix-up as to locality. As we went further, we met fewer and fewer people, till at last we were somewhat surprised when we met even the patrol of horse police going their usual suburban round. At last, we reached the wall of the churchyard, which we climbed over with some little difficulty, for it was very dark, and the whole place seemed so strange to us. We found the Westenra tomb. The professor took the key, opened the creaky door, and standing back, politely, but quite unconsciously, motioned me to precede him. There was a delicious irony in the offer, and the courtliness of giving preference on such a ghastly occasion. My companion followed me quickly and cautiously drew the door. After carefully ascertaining that the lock was a falling and not a spring one, in the latter case we should have been a bad plight. We should have been in a bad plight. Then he fumbled in his bag and taking out a matchbox and a piece of candle, proceeded to make a light. The tomb in the daytime, and when wreathed with fresh flowers, had looked grim and gruesome enough. But now, some days afterward, when the flowers hung lank and dead, their whites turning to rust and their greens to browns, when the spider and the beetle had resumed their accustomed dominance, when time discolored stone and the dust encrusted mortar and rusty dank iron and tarnished brass and clouded silver plating gave back the feeble glimmer of a candle, the effect was more miserable and sordid than could have been imagined. It conveyed irresistibly the idea that life, animal life, was not the only thing which could pass away. Van Helsing went about his work systematically, holding his candle so that he could read the coffin plates, and so holding it that the sperm dropped in white patches which congealed as they touched the metal. Excuse me, what were they doing? He made assurance of Lucy's coffin. Another search in his bag, and he took out a turn screw. What are you going to do? I asked. To open the coffin. You shall yet be convinced. Straight away he began taking out the screws, and finally lifted off the lid, showing the casings of lead beneath. The sight was almost too much for me. It seemed to be as much an affront to the dead as it would have been to have stripped off her clothing in her sleep whilst living. I actually took hold of his hand to stop him. He only said, "You shall see," and again, fumbling in his bag, took out a tiny fret saw. Striking the turn screw through the lead with a swift downward stab, which made me wince, he made a small hole, which was, however, big enough to admit the point of the saw. I had expected a rush of gas from the weak old corpse. We doctors who have had to study our dangers have to become accustomed to such things, and I drew back toward the door. But the professor never stopped for a moment. He sawed he sawed down a couple of feet along one side of the lead coffin and then across, and down the other side. Taking the edge of the loose flange, he bent it back toward the front. He he bent it back toward the foot of the coffin, and holding up the candle into the aperture, motioned me to look. I drew near and looked. The coffin was empty. It was certainly a surprise to me and gave me a considerable shock, but Van Helsing was unmoved. He was now more sure than ever of his ground, and so emboldened to proceed in his task. Are you satisfied now, friend John? He asked. I felt all the dogged argumentative I felt all the dogged argumentativeness of my nature awake within me as I answered him. I am satisfied that Lucy's body is not in that coffin, but that only proves one thing. And what is that, friend John? That it is not there. That is good logic, he said, so far as it goes. But how can you account for it not being there? Perhaps a body is, perhaps a body snatcher, I suggested. Some of the undertakers, some of the undertaker, some of the undertaker's people may have stolen it. So they a picture of the blank, empty casket, just wild. Hey, Eli got the a low lunch sandshrew. I felt that I was speaking folly, and yet it was the only real cause which I could suggest. The professor sighed. Ah, well, he said, we must have more proof. Come with me. He put on the coffin lid again, gathered up all his things and placed them in the bag, blew out the light and placed the candle also in the bag. We opened the door and went out. Behind us, he closed the door and locked it. He handed me the key, saying, Will you keep it? You had better be assured. I laughed. It was not a very cheerful laugh, I am bound to say, as I motioned him to keep it. A key is nothing, I said. There may be duplicates, and anyhow it is not difficult to pick a lock of that kind. He said nothing, but put the key in his pocket. Then he told me to watch at one side of the churchyard whilst he would watch at the other. I took up my place behind a yew tree, and I saw his dark figure move until the intervening headstones and trees hid it from my sight. It was a lonely vigil. Just after I had taken my place, I heard a distant clock strike 12, and in time came 1 and 2. I was chilled and unnerved and angry with the professor for taking me on such an errand and with myself for coming. I was too cold and too sleepy to be keenly observant, and not sleepy enough to betray my trust, so altogether I had a dreary, miserable time. Suddenly, as I turned around, I thought I saw something like a white streak moving between two dark yew trees at the side of the churchyard, farthest from the tomb. At the same time, a dark mass moved from the professor's side of the ground and hurriedly went toward it. Then I too moved, but I had to go around the headstones and railed off tombs, and I stumbled over graves. The sky was overcast, and somewhere far off an early cock crew. A little way off, beyond a line of scattered juniper trees, which marked the pathway to the church, a white dim figure flitted in the direction of the tomb. The tomb itself was hidden by trees, and I could not see where the figure disappeared. I heard the rustle of actual movement where I had first seen the white figure, and coming over, found the professor holding in his arms a tiny child. This picture's crazy to look at. Holy shit, look. Oh, okay. My child moved out from under me and he's now laying. next to me. Um, ow, fuck. Ugh, I got like a mosquito bite on my ankle and it's killing me. When he saw me, he held it out to me and said, "Are you satisfied now?" "No," I said in a way that I felt was aggressive. "Do you not see the child?" "Yes, it is a child, but who brought it here? And is it wounded?" I asked. "We shall see," said the professor, and with one impulse we took our way out of the churchyard, he carrying the sleeping child. When we had got some little distance away, we went into a clump of trees and struck a match and looked at the child's throat. It was without a scratch or scar of any kind. "Was I right?" I asked triumphantly. "We were just in time," said the professor thankfully. We had now to decide what we were to do with the child, and we so consulted about it. If we were to take it to a police station, we should have to give some account of our movements during the night. At least we should have had to make some statements as to how we had come to find the child. So finally we decided that we would take it to the heath, and when we heard a policeman coming, would leave it where he could not fail to find it. We would then seek our way home as quickly as we could. All fell out well. At the edge of Hampstead Heath, we heard a policeman's heavy tramp, and laying the child on the pathway, we waited and watched until he saw it as he flashed his lantern to and fro. We heard his exclamation of astonishment, and then we went away quietly. By good chance, we got a cab near the Spaniards and drove to town. I cannot sleep, so I make this entry, but I must try to get a few hours' sleep, as Van Helsing is to call for me at noon. He insists that I shall go with him on another expedition. 27th of September. It was 2 o'clock before we found a suitable opportunity for our attempt. The funeral held at noon was all completed, and the last stragglers of the mourners had taken themselves lazily away when, looking carefully from behind a clump of alder trees, we saw the sexton lock the gate after him. We knew that they were we knew then that we were safe till morning, did we desire it, but the professor told me that we should not want more than an hour at most. Again, I felt that horrid sense of the reality of things, in which any effort of imagination seemed out of place, and I realized distinctly the perils of the law which we were incurring in our unhallowed work. Besides, I felt it was also useless, outrageous as it was to open a leaden coffin to see if a woman dead nearly a week were really dead. It now seemed the height of folly to open the tomb again, when we knew from the evidence of our own eyesight that the coffin was empty. I shrugged my shoulders, however, and rested silent, for Van Helsing had a way of going on his own road, no matter who remonstrated. He took the key, opened the vault, and again, courteously, motioned me to proceed. The place was not so gruesome as last night, but oh, how utterly mean looking when the sunshine streamed in. Van Helsing walked over to Lucy's coffin, and I followed. He bent over and again forced back the leaden flange, and then a shock of surprise and dismay shot through me. There lay Lucy, seemingly just as we had seen her the night before her funeral. She was, if possible, more radiantly beautiful than ever, and I could not believe that she was dead. The lips were red, nay, redder than before, and on the cheeks was a delicate bloom. "Is this a juggle?" I said to him. "Are you convinced now?" said the professor in response, and as he spoke he put over his hand, and in a way that made me shudder, pulled back the dead lips and showed the white teeth. "See," he went on, "see, they are even sharper than before, with this and this," and he touched one of the canine teeth and that below it. "The little children can be bitten. Are the little children can be bitten. Are you of belief now, friend John?" Once more argumentative hostility woke within me. I could not accept such an overwhelming idea as he suggested. So, with an attempt to argue, of which I was even at the moment ashamed, I said, "She may have been placed here since last night." "Indeed, that is so. And by whom?" "I do not know. Someone has done it. And yet she has been dead 1 week. Most people in that time would not look so." I had no answer for this, so was silent. Van Helsing did not seem to notice my silence. At any rate, he seemed not. At any rate, he showed neither chagrin nor triumph. He was looking intently at the face of the dead woman, raising the eyelids and looking at the eyes, and once more opening the lips and examining the teeth. Then he turned to me and said, "Here, there is one thing which is different from all recorded. Here is some dual life that is not as the common. She was bitten by the vampire when she was in a trance, sleepwalking. Oh, you start! You do not know that, friend John, but you shall know it all later. And in trance could he best come to take more blood? In trance she died, and in trance she is undead too. So it is that she differed from all other. Usually when the undead Usually when the undead sleep at home, as he spoke, he made a comprehensive sweep of his arm to designate what to a vampire was home. Their face show what they are, but this so sweet that was when she not undead, she could excuse me. But this so sweet that was when she not undead, she go back to the nothings of the common dead. There is no malign there, see, and so it make hard that I must kill her in her sleep. Then turned my blood cold, and it began to dawn upon me that I was accepting Van Helsing's histories. That I was accepting Van Helsing's theories. But if she were really dead, what was there of terror in the idea of killing her? He looked up at me and evidently saw the change in my face, for he said almost joyously, "Ah, you believe now." I answered, "Do not press me too hard all at once. I am willing to accept. How will you do this bloody work?" "I shall cut off her head and fill her mouth with garlic, and I shall drive a stake through her body." It made me shudder to think of so mutilating the body of the woman whom I had loved, and yet the feeling was not so strong as I had expected. I was in fact beginning to shudder at the presence of this being, this undead as Van Helsing called it, and to loathe it. Is it possible that love is all subjective, or all objective? I waited a considerable time for Van Helsing to begin, but he stood as if wrapped in thought. Presently he closed the catch of his bag with a snap and said, "I have been thinking, and have made up my mind as to what is best. If I did simply following my inclining, I would do now at this moment what is to be done. But there are other things to follow, and things that are 1,000 times more difficult in that them we do not know. This is simple. She have yet no life taken, though that is of time, and to act now would be to take danger from her forever. But then we may have we, but then we may have to want Arthur, and how shall we tell him of this? If you, who saw the wounds on Lucy's throat and saw the wounds so similar on the child's at the hospital, if you, who saw the coffin empty last night and full today with a woman, who have not changed only to be more rose and more beautiful in a whole week, after she die, if you know of this and know of the white figure last night that brought the child to the churchyard, and yet of your own senses you do not believe, how then can I expect Arthur, who know none of these things, to believe? He doubted me when I took him from her kiss when she was dying. I know he has forgiven me because in some mistaken idea I have done things that prevent him saying goodbye as he ought. And he may think that in some more mistaken idea this woman was buried alive, and that in most mistake of all we have killed her. He will then argue back that it is we, mistaken ones, that have killed her by our ideas, and so he will be much unhappy any always. Yet he never can be sure, and that is the worst of all. And he will sometimes think that she he loved was buried alive, and that will paint his dreams the horrors of what she must have suffered. And again he will think that we may be right, and that his so beloved was after all an undead. No, I told him once, and since then I learned much. Now since I know it is all true, 100,000 times more do I know that he must pass through the bitter waters to reach the sweet. He, poor fellow, must have 1 hour that will make the very face of heaven grow black to him. Then we can act for good all around and send him peace. My mind is made up. Let us go. You return home for tonight to your asylum and see that all be well. As for me, I shall spend the night here in the churchyard in my own way. Tomorrow night you will come to me at the Berkeley Hotel at 10 of the clock. I shall send for Arthur to come too, and also that so fine young man of America that gave his blood. Later we shall all have work to do. I come with you so far as Piccadilly, and there dine, for I must be back here before the sun set. So we locked the tomb and came away and got over the wall of the churchyard, which was not much of a task, and drove back to Piccadilly. Okay. All right. Note left by Van Helsing in his portmanteau. In his portmanteau. Berkeley Hotel directed to John Seward, M.D. Not delivered. 27th of September. Friend John, I write this in case anything should happen. I go alone to watch in that churchyard. It pleases me that the undead, Miss Lucy, shall not leave tonight, so that on the morrow night she may be more eager. Therefore, I shall fix some things she like not, garlic and a crucifix, and so seal up the door of the tomb. She is young as undead and will heed. Moreover, these are only to prevent her coming out. They may not prevail on her wanting to get in, for then the undead is desperate and must find the line of least resistance, whatsoever it may be. I shall be at hand all the night from sunset till after sunrise, and if there be aught that may be learned, I shall learn it. For Miss Lucy, for Miss Lucy, or from her, I have no fear, but that other to whom is there that she is undead. He have now the power to seek her tomb and find shelter. He is cunning, as I know from Mr. Jonathan, and from the way that all along he have fooled us when he played with us for Miss Lucy's life, and we lost. And in many ways the undead are strong. He have always the strength in his hand of 20 men. Even we four who gave our strength to Miss Lucy, it also is all to him. Besides, he can summon his wolf, and I know not what. So if it be that he come thither on this night, he shall find me, but none other shall, until it be too late. But it may be that he will not attempt the place. There is no reason why he should. His hunting ground is more full of game than the churchyard where the undead women sleep, and the old man watch. Therefore, I write this in case. Take the take the papers that are with this, the diaries of Harker and the rest, and read them, and then find this great undead, and cut off his head, and burn his heart, or drive a stake through it, so that the world may rest from him. If it be so, farewell. Van Helsing. Ugh, okay. Whew. Dr. Seward's Diary, 28th September. It is wonderful what a good night's sleep will do for one. Yesterday, I was almost willing to accept Van Helsing's monstrous ideas, but now they seem to start out lurid before me as outrages on common sense. I have no doubt that he believes it all. I wonder if his mind can have become in any way unhinged. Surely there must be some rational explanation of all these mysterious things. Is it possible that the professor can have done it himself? He is so abnormally clever that if he went off his head, he would carry out his intent with regard to some fixed idea in a wonderful way. I am loath to think it, and indeed it would be almost as great a marvel as the other to find that Van Helsing was mad. But anyhow, I shall watch him carefully. I may get some light on the mystery. You know what? I low key forgot that Dr. Stewart is works in an insane asylum till right now when he's talking about the professor and he's like, "Was I feeding into the delusions?" All right. 29th of September, morning. Last night, at a little before 10 o'clock, Arthur and Quincy came into Van Helsing's room. He told us all that he wanted us to do, but especially addressing himself to Arthur, as if all our wills were centered in his. He began by saying that he hoped we would all come with him too, for he said there is a grave duty to be done. You were doubtless surprised at my letter. This query was directly addressed to Lord Godalming. I was. It rather upset me for a bit. There's been so much trouble around my house of late that I could do without any more. I've been curious too as to what you mean. Quincy and I talked it over, but the more we talked, the more puzzled we got, till now I can say for myself that I'm about up a tree as to any meaning what about anything. Me too, said Quincy Morris laconically. Oh, said the professor. Then you are near to the beginning, both of you. Than friend John here, who has to go a long way back before he can even get so far as to begin. It was evident that he recognized my return to my old doubting frame of mind without my saying a word. Then, turning to the other two, he said with intense gravity, I want your permission to do what I think good this night. It is, I know, much to ask, and when you know what it is I propose to do, you will know, and only then, how much. Therefore, may I ask that you promise me in the dark so that afterward, though you may be angry with me for a time, I must not disguise from myself the possibility that such may be. You shall not blame yourselves for anything. That's frank, anyhow, broke in Quincy. I'll answer for the professor. I don't quite see his drift, but I swear he's honest, and that's good enough for me. I thank you, sir, said Van Helsing proudly. I have done myself the honor of counting you one trusting friend, and such endorsements is dear to me. He held out a hand, which Quincy took. Then Arthur spoke out. Dr. Van Helsing, I don't quite like to buy a pig in a poke, as they say in Scotland, and if it be anything in which my honor as a gentleman or my faith as a Christian is concerned, I cannot make such a promise. If you can assure me that what you intend does not violate either of those two, then I give my consent at once. Though for the life of me, I cannot understand what you are driving at. I accept your limitation, said Van Helsing, and all I ask of you is that if you feel it necessary to condemn any act of mine, You will first consider it well and be satisfied that it does not violate your reservations. Agreed, said Arthur. That is only fair. And now that the poor parlors are over, may I ask what it is we are to do? I want you to come with me and to come in secret to the churchyard at Kingstead. Arthur's face fell as he said in an amazed sort of way, "Where poor Lucy is buried?" The professor bowed. Arthur went on, "And when there?" To enter the tomb. Arthur stood up. "Professor, are you in earnest, or is it some monstrous joke?" "Pardon me, I see that you are in earnest." He sat down again, but I could see that he sat firmly and proudly as one who is on his dignity. There was silence until he asked again, "And when in the tomb?" To open the coffin. "This is too much," he said angrily, rising again. "I am willing to be patient in all things that are reasonable, but in this desecration of the grave of one who—" He fairly choked with indignation. The professor looked pityingly at him. "If I could spare you one friend, if I could spare you one pang, my poor friend," he said, "God knows I would. But this night our feet must tread in thorny paths, or later, and forever, the feet you love must walk in paths of flame." Arthur looked up with set white face and said, "Take care, sir. Take care." "Would it not be well to hear what I have to say?" said Van Helsing. "And then you will at least know the limit of my purpose. Shall I go on?" "That's fair enough," broke in Morris. After a pause, Van Helsing went on evidently with an effort. "Miss Lucy is dead, is it not so?" "Yes." "Then there can be no wrong to her. But if she be not dead—" Arthur jumped to his feet. "Good God!" he cried. "What do you mean? Has there been any mistake? Has she been buried alive?" He groaned in anguish that not even hope could soften. "I did not say she was alive, my child. I did not think it. I go no further than to say that she might be undead." "Undead, not alive! What do you mean? Is this all a nightmare, or what is it?" "There are mysteries which men can only guess at, which age by age they may solve only in part. Believe me, we are now on the verge of one, but I have not done. May I cut off the head of dead Miss Lucy?" "Heavens and earth, no!" cried Arthur in a storm of passion. "Not for the wide world will I consent to any mutilation of her dead body. Dr. Van Helsing, you try me too far. What have I done to you that you should torture me so? What did that poor sweet girl do that you should want to cast such dishonor on her grave? Are you mad to speak such things, or am I mad to listen to them? Don't dare to think more of such desecration. I shall not give my consent to anything you do. I have a duty to do in protecting her grave from outrage, and by God, I shall do it." Van Helsing rose up from where he had all the time been seated, and said gravely and sternly, My Lord Godalming, I too have a duty to do, a duty to others, a duty to you, a duty to the dead, and by God, I shall do it. All I ask you now is that you come with me, that you look and listen. And if when later I make the same request, you do not be more eager for its fulfillment even than I am, then, then I shall do my duty, whatever it may seem to me. And then, to follow of your lordship's wishes, I shall hold myself at your disposal to render an account to you, when and where you will." His voice broke a little, and he went on with a voice full of pity. "But I beseech you, do not go forth in anger with me. In a long life of acts which were often not pleasant to do, and which sometimes did wring my heart, I have never had so heavy a task as now. Believe me that if the time comes for you to change your mind toward me, one look from you will wipe away all this so sad hour, for I would do what a man can to save you from sorrow. Just think. For why should I give myself so much of labor and so much of sorrow? I have come here from my own land to do what I can of good. At the first to please my friend John, and then to help a sweet young lady whom too I came to love. For her I am ashamed to say so much, but I say it in kindness. I gave what you gave. The blood of my veins, I gave it. I, who was not, like you, her lover, but only her physician and her friend. I gave to her my nights and days, before death, after death, and if my death can do her good, even now, when she is a dead, undead, she shall have it freely. He said this with a very grave, sweet pride, and Arthur was much affected by it. He took the old man's hand and said in a broken voice, "Oh, it is hard to think of it, and I cannot understand, but at least I shall go with you and wait." And now we see there's a illustration of a knife with like a wolf's head on it. I think that's a wolf. Oh shit. Okay. Okay, we just it's midnight now, and we just got to chapter 16. Ugh. How long is this chapter? I kind of want to keep reading. Oh fuck, this is a long chapter. 274. 280. Okay, well it's 9 pages. Like I want to keep reading, but it's also midnight and my throat is starting to hurt. I should have made tea before this, honestly. You know what? I think we're gonna have to call it here tonight. At oh fuck, this is like my shortest stream yet. At least with reading. Mm, I want to keep going, but I also have to do audiobook work. Like tomorrow. I gotta work on this audiobook that I'm doing, and I am gonna have to record tomorrow. So I'm like I can't fuck up my voice too much. How many chapters left in this book? 16. Okay. Okay, we just finished chapter 16. Apparently there's 27 chapters. So by this count, we're probably going to have two more sessions before we finish this book. Yeah, cuz like we're like a little bit more than halfway right now. Whew. I am sorry. We got to call it a night, Starlings. Maybe next week I will try to start a little bit earlier or something. We'll see. Let me see if anyone's live right now. All right. Okay. We do. We have two buddies that are live. And I know who we're going to go. But yeah, thank you all for keeping me company today, Starlings. You know, I appreciate it. I was like, oh, maybe I'll play some Disney Dreamlight, but I'm also like, bro, I'm tired actually. Otherwise, I would play for like another hour because then it would kind of give me a break on my voice. But I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm probably gonna start getting ready for bed right after this, or maybe I'll do some editing of my audiobook thing. But yeah, I'm not continuing, unfortunately. Luckily, the guy I'm sending to will likely be on for longer. He uh he streams for long hours and at night, so y'all will have some good company. But yeah, thank you all for coming today, Starlings. It means a lot to me. You know, I appreciate the company. I'm trying to think. I'm gonna try to keep to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday being the days that I stream, so that way the weekdays I actually get work done. Okay, I might. I'm thinking about starting to do some co-working streams where I'm muted, but maybe I can do some maybe I can put on like the cute duck simulator or oh god, what is it called? Um oh my brain, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's like Spirit City. the and or maybe like we can do some like chat radio one of these days. We'll see because like I would have to be muted the entire time for the way I edit and listen to like I have to listen to myself too often. So, but maybe I will find a time to do some co-working streams like that this week. If I can figure out. Yes, thank you. That works. Lo-fi Spirit City. But yeah, thank you all for coming. I love y'all. Mwah! Go have fun with Buddha. Bye now.